name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Well, hello there, and welcome to Talking Tennis. Welcome, friends of the show, new and old, because I have a mix of those on this stream with me today to watch this first men's singles semi-final of the US Open. I am, of course, talking about G.O.A.T, who is obviously an old friend of the show, and a new friend of the show, Zach. So, new names, new faces, but we'll start with you, G.O.A.T. How are you doing?
I'm good. Excited for the semifinal. I've started my day with a challenger event here in Istanbul, quarterfinals. So all the way up to a Grand Slam semifinal. It's a big switch up. I'm ready for this.
I mean, look, depending on whether or not you're Damien, he might consider this a downgrade. But that's besides the point. So we'll introduce our new friend as the players are being introduced as they're walking out on court. Jannik Sinner is currently coming out. So let's do a big introduction for Zach. Zach, hello, welcome to the show. First time on Talking Tennis. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, indeed. And Nick, I'm excited to be talking tennis with you and G.O.A.T. So thank you all so much for having me. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. I'm a average recreational tennis player, and I love watching the Pro Tour. I think we're gonna have a great day today.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's start with you, G.O.A.T. So Matthew is already kind of put in the chat that he's hoping this is going to be competitive. How optimistic are you about Draper's chances of challenging Sinner today?
Yeah, maybe not as optimistic as Matthew is. So when I talked to John and said that I would be up for the stream of the first semifinal, I thought it would be Fritz Tiafoe because they played earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know, just jokes aside, I don't have high hopes on this going 5 sets or something. Just because Sinner's world number one. Draper has not played someone close to Sinner's caliber. Like de Minaur was not his 100% self. So he might be coming a bit undercooked to the semifinal. But I would totally welcome it. Hopefully it is like that. I'm not getting my hopes high.
Not getting high hopes for a match. I mean, Zach, I can see you've already getting some questions to the live chat. We'll come to those in a minute so we don't distract from the main point. But talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on Draper's run to the semifinals here.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's had a pretty favorable draw, and that's the nicest possible way to say it. It's no one at this level is a scrub, but he's played one seeded player and he was off of his form and off of his game. I will say, though, I'm a little bit more bullish on this being a competitive match because when you look at Draper's career and he's a young guy, the thing that's held him back has not been his level. It's been his health, and he's healthy right now. And then on top of that, Sinner, yes, he's playing very well, but the crowd could turn against him. The allegations around him, he's been cleared of any wrongdoing, but very well could have a hostile crowd at some point. I also think the crowd's going to get on board with Draper because he's a young guy. They want it to be competitive. The momentum might shift in a way that's going to be difficult for Sinner. He's pretty inscrutable. He's got a great mental game, but I think we might get 4 sets out of this at least. And also, look, Draper's got a giant lefty serve. No one at any level of tennis wants to play somebody with a big lefty serve, so anything could happen.
That is very true, actually, and I think I'm still giving Sinner the edge. because I think his return game will kick into gear and he'll figure it out. And he's played big players before. He's a fairly big player himself. And I think that, but I'm with you. I'm fairly optimistic that Draper could maybe come out swinging at the beginning, knock him back a bit, and then Sinner's got to figure him out. And that's where the drama is going to come from in this match. Do you want to answer Brazy's comments from about 3 minutes ago? Zach, have you been to the Winston-Salem ATP event? I think you were talking to me about this earlier.
I'm so glad that Brazy asked this question about the best 250 in the world, the Winston-Salem Open. I have been the last 3 years. I saw Jack Draper play there. I was really, really impressed. This year, he was not there, of course, but there was some really fantastic competition. There was a young American player named Lerner Tien. He doesn't turn 19 until December. He's a lefty. He got a main draw win against Fabian Marozhin. If you are a fan of tennis, a 250 is about the best deal in sports. You can sit, especially if you're not on the main court, on courts 2, 3, 4, you can sit 10 feet away from a top 50 player. Think about how much money it would cost to sit that close to a top 50 athlete in any other pro sport that's as big of a global game as that. It is the Winston-Salem Open, fantastic, but just 250s in general, 10 thumbs way up.
Whereas, how does that compare to challenges, say?
I've also been to the Cary Challenger. I'm getting the sense that Brazy might be familiar with the North Carolina tennis scene a little bit here. But yeah, so the level, there is a difference, but it's pretty small. I would compare it for those that are American fans, the difference between AAA and Major League Baseball. You can tell there's a little bit of a difference, but it's just, it's a fantastic atmosphere, and anything that you lose in level, you make up for in way better drink prices. So it evens out.
Yeah, well, it turns out Brazy's in Atlanta. Is that right, ATL? Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Great. I had a moment of doubt there, but I should have gone with, that's the most logical thing with my knowledge of US geography. Atlanta's a big place.
I think at some point in time, Brazy and I are going to have to meet up, not really halfway, but equally out of the way for both of us at the Charleston 500, which is another great tournament in the United States South.
Oh, yeah. I watched the Charleston 500. I think it looks like an awesome event.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of Winston-Salem, to be honest, because the coverage was shocking in the UK. Like, it was.
In what way?
Basically, it was one of the few tournaments that I couldn't get court choice on to watch. Like the televised options were terrible in that sense. I also watch more WTA tennis, to be honest. So when it comes to what's going on in various time zones, I'm more likely to pick what was going on in Cleveland than necessarily Winston-Salem, but that's just more my bag. And there wasn't necessarily any players in Winston-Salem that was kind of catching my attention. So it's actually an event I'm not too familiar with watching on TV, but I will say it's an impressive draw size for a 250.
Yeah, and one thing I'll throw out there about the 250 as well, really, really want to recommend to folks, go to the early rounds, the qualifier rounds for 250s, especially if you played in the juniors. I was not a particularly good junior player, never was on the track to play in college, but a youngster who kicked, who beat me pretty good when he was 9 and I was 12 and has pursued tennis professionally, was actually playing in one of the qualifiers. And I can't tell you what it was to see him play. A guy named Strong Kirshheimer, ultra talented, late 20s, still chasing the dream. And he played an awesome match against Tyson Kwiatkowski, who ended up retiring afterwards. And it just, the local fans and the local players, it's magical. Level might not be quite as high, but it's something worth seeing.
I'd say, look, going to see any tennis is worth it. There's a challenger that happens probably a couple of hours away from me that I really want to go to. It's like in the middle of literally freaking nowhere, called Ilkley. And when I say little nowhere, I mean you have a hillside in the background, and it's just a tiny English town where it's based.
I love it.
Girl Carl, you're pretty familiar with that event, right? Ilkley.
Sorry, say again?
The Ilkley Challenger?
Yeah, isn't it that the grass challenger?
Yeah, it's a grass challenger that happens sort of in the lead up to Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Same week as Queens.
Can you sit on the hill and watch the match from there, like for free?
No, you need binoculars for that.
Okay.
It's a big hill. Guys, play's about to start. So so we'll kind of maybe pay attention to what's happening here, and then I'll kind of come to you guys for thoughts on how that's all going to go. So here we go. Jack Draper's going to serve first here, people, and he goes up the tee with a huge serve. Sinner gets it back in play. Draper's got the +1, which he overplays, puts it over the baseline. It's love 15. Maybe a bit tight on that first forehand, Gokal.
Yeah, first games, they're always gonna look like a lot of nerves, I guess. Maybe on both sides, but particularly on Draper. So expected.
He was looking pretty good with the serve, and then it didn't quite work after that. And now he's got a second serve on this second point of the match. It's a double fault from Draper. Is he in danger of disappointing Sean's hype? I forget, Sean, are you British? I didn't realize you were British. But probably Jack Draper's our best English hope since Tim Henman at this rate. No, maybe Kyle Edmund as well. Obviously, Andy Murray is Scottish, and the Murray Musings guys will not let us hear the end of it.
There was Hemon Hill. There was Murray Mound. What are we doing for Draper? What are we doing for Draper, though? Like, what are we going to call it?
Adele's of depression. No, I've got an idea, but it sounds like something Ghosty would put in the chat, so I probably shouldn't say it out loud. 15:30. Draper ditch does not work, Brazy, because that's not a hill.
Draper's Dolomite. I don't know. That's
yeah. I think I need to double check that what I think means what I think it is, but Draper's got a point now, and he's got an unreturnable serve, so he's getting himself back in this game, which is good to see.
It's that big lefty serve. Gents, I got to confess something. My stream is a little ahead of yours, so don't make any bets with me during this match because I'm going to win.
That's fine. That happens a lot, to be honest. So, we'll go with that. Another unreturnable serve. I'll try not to talk through too many points. 40-30. Draper closes that. Long first serve. That big lefty serve just misses.
A thing that I just want to talk about after seeing him play in Winston Open, of course, everybody knows he's got the bomb, and you can see, though, the slice that he's able to put on it, just the range and the distance that he can take a returner in every direction is incredible. I mean, he really has a spectacular serve. I also didn't realize until earlier today, actually, that he's a natural righty. He got the Nadal program at a young age, I guess.
I mean, look, I think the dart's not that unusual, right? Because everyone knows playing lefty is an advantage in tennis, right? Even recreationally.
You think so? I mean, have you ever tried playing lefty? Or I don't know if you're a natural lefty, but I've tried. And
I'm a righty,
it's so
and
hard.
My left hand is terrible at everything.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder if every advantage you get for playing with your left hand, which is an advantage, if it's not your natural hand, I wonder if you give it back. And I've always kind of wondered, what would tennis have looked like if Nadal had played with his right hand his whole career? What would Draper's game look like if he was playing with his dominant hand? And we'll never know.
But, Gulka, I want to hear your thoughts. Do you think Draper's leftiness is going to help him here? What kind of tactics could he employ with the game that he's got to give him a hope of disrupting Sinner here, who is now serving?
Yeah, I think that lefty serve that's practiced, least for in tennis, also for lefties. I used to work with a lefty player, and she hated playing lefties as well, because you don't get that matchup most of the time. And I think Nadal's even win rate against lefties is not as high, of course, even if you take out Djokovic and Federer. So it's just, you don't practice it as much. You don't get as many opponents. So I think it's always tricky. But Sinner's got that backhand down the line. He's got that incredible reach on return. Maybe it's going to take a few service games, but I'm sure he'll find all the answers. But will he be effective? That's going to be the big question, at least for the first set.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Sinner's got this game to 15-all. By the way, he did lose the opening point. Zach, what about you? What kind of tactics would you be thinking Draper needs to employ here to take it to Sinner?
So I'm going to take us all the way back to my favorite Wimbledon, 2001, when Goran Ivanisevic won. I think he's got to just hit bombs. He's got to play the most aggressive service game of his entire career, because look, playing it safe is not going to get it done against Jannik Sinner. He's got to be going for it, ultra aggressive. He does not want to get in long exchanges. He's got to rely on that serve. Sinner doesn't have any real weakness as far as I can tell. So I think he's just got to out aggressive him, play the numbers. It's like in basketball, if you're playing a team that's physically stronger, you just got to rain threes. And for Draper today, just big serves, going ultra aggressive.
Well, he's certainly doing that. The question is, what's he going to do on return? They're into a rally at the minute 30-15, which Draper eventually nets, but Sinner was getting some wonderful depth in his shots, and I don't think Draper was being super effective and trying to turn the point in his favor. So Sinner's got 2 game points to basically hold his opening service game. Gokap, what have you made of Sinner's progress so far through this tournament? Like, I was surprised when Alcaraz and Djokovic went out that the response was not, well, Sinner's definitely going to win this. There was still some doubt over it, and he's dropped a couple of sets, one of which to Daniel Medvedev, which there's no shame in. But yeah, what have you made of Sinner's run this tournament? Is he weirdly under the radar for the #1 seed?
Yeah, and I think this doping case, I was expecting much more to come out of it, like not like from the case itself, but its reflection on Sinner. I was expecting him to be more, less focused in matches, questioned more in interviews. Even I forgot that he had all this in the quarterfinals. Like, it was like a regular tournament. He has like zero stress about that, I feel like, because that was like in the first set of the first round, which he lost to McDonald, and then he kind of like left it all in that set. So I think that was one of the reasons why we thought he would kind of lose to himself in a round, but he didn't. So, and I still thought Medvedev would win, but yeah, he did it. So good for Sinner. I mean, he served brilliantly in a few rounds. So he has those, he has that confidence, I think, to serve things out.
I think Go-Cup's exactly right. I totally agree. I thought Sinner was going to really struggle more with the crowd, with just the mental. I think one thing that helps him kind of get through this is if you look at what people who are on steroids typically are built like, it's a little different than Jannik Sinner, right? And it just doesn't quite pass the smell test that guy's on steroids because he's such a string bean,
I mean, steroids don't just put muscle on you, though.
It's true. It's true. And so, yeah, there's many ways to dope. There's many ways that, different body types that can benefit from steroids and all that. And like, whether it's true or not, does it feel like he's on steroids? Like, when you look at him, the brain just does not say steroids, knowing full well, you're right, Nick, that it doesn't mean necessarily that he can't be on steroids. It just doesn't feel like he's on steroids, And I think getting through that first set and then being able to play a good tournament, it would suggest that his conscience is clear. Total pseudopsychology there.
Yeah, well, let's see. I would imagine that he's going to be on a watch list for doping for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if he's getting extra tests just to be sure. I think that's something that they probably do. I know there's certain players who feel like they get tested more often, particularly if they're Russian, given history there with what was happening with their Olympic athletes a couple of years back. So yeah, and for as long as Sinner's playing, I think there's going to be a little bit more attention to him, and so that actually gives me confidence that it's all good. And at the end of the day, look, for a body such as the ITIA, which 9 times out of 10 comes down hard on players, which we've seen time and time and again, for them not to do that with the world #1, which would be a very serious situation if he was found to be doping and got to the top of the sport in that way, they would almost be incentivized to deal with it. So I'm willing to trust the process on this one.
I would also say, as Lance Armstrong once said, extraordinary allegations require extraordinary proof. I think that there is not extraordinary proof that Jannik Sinner is doping. I think that, this is a first-time offense. It's trace amounts. There's that photo that's been making its way around Twitter that shows the cut on the trainer's finger. I think for this one, everybody is incentivized to give him the benefit of the doubt. It costs tennis a lot more money if he gets suspended for doping. It costs him a lot of money if he gets suspended for doping. It sucks for the fans if he gets suspended. So, this one, I think he's kind of going to get a pass. But man, if something like this happens again, the hammer's got to come down, even if it is an accident again.
Yeah, say so. Because he's got to think out who. If it is an accident again, you got to think out who he's hiring as well.
Right. Then it's a pattern. By the way, Draper here is spraying the ball a little bit on that forehand. He's playing well enough to stay in this, but I've noticed he's hit a few of those kind of shank forehands that have sailed comfortably deep and gone way in the air. Let's see if he can clean that up here in the next couple games.
He also won 2 long rallies in that game. I was expecting Sinner to go to Draper's backhand, like forehand cross court, but I wasn't expecting Draper when he gets it in his forehand. I wasn't expecting like inside outs down the lines, but he's going after Sinner's forehand, which both of those points he won. So I'm surprised with that pattern.
Do you think? Yeah, do you think in that situation? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Come back on this Gold Cup. If it's because Sinner's still sizing Draper up a little bit, and he's willing to kind of see what Draper's got, and then work out a strategy, or is it that Draper, by hitting to the forehand, is catching him out a bit? Because we've seen time and again, even with some of the great players, you actually go to their strength that catches them out of it.
Yeah. If I were Sinner, I would just continue doing that, thinking this is too high of a backhand level from Draper right now. I'm just going to continue my plan because these were just the first 2 points. But because, that Draper forehand is heavy. I wouldn't want to go to that in the beginning of the match.
Going to the forehand with Draper.
Little tennis trivia here. Do we know who Jack Draper got his first ATP Tour main draw win against?
Oh, you're really going niche here. Gold Cup's got a better chance of knowing that than me.
I have no idea.
I'll give you a hint. He's on the court right now.
No
way.
Fact check me. Pretty sure. I believe so. I'll tell you what. Y'all keep chatting. I'll double check that. But I believe that I read that earlier today.
My device is going to be running slow because I'm sharing my screen with the score, so I'm not going to be the quickest on the.
At the Queen's Club Championships in June, Draper secured the biggest win of his career to date with a victory over number 23 Jannik Sinner as a wild card.
It was that match because I remember that. Yeah, that was the match. Everyone suddenly went, "Oh, this Draper guy might actually be quite good," and because I remember, there was the discourse after that was, "Wow, this Draper guy might be quite good," particularly for the British media.
Yeah,
and the other discourse was, "Is Jannik Sinner ever going to figure out grass?" Because at that point, he barely won any matches on the surface.
Yeah,
and then he goes the very sixth Wimbledon, he knocks out Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, you're right. He won against Sinner as world number 309, 2 tiebreaks. And in the next round, he beat Bublik, 2 tiebreaks again.
Oof. What does that do for his confidence today? He's beat Sinner. He didn't beat this version of Sinner, but he's beaten Sinner before. Does that help him on the course today?
That has to, I think.
Yeah.
I think it does. He knows. Yeah, he knows he can do it. And he could fight him in a tiebreak, and he knows he needs to take tiebreaks. Because I think the difference between the Jannik Sinner when Draper beat him in 22 and the Jannik Sinner of now is more effective in execution. The game's not changed. He's just better at executing it.
Yeah. And, at this level, millimeters make a world of difference. And Sinner has always been such a clean ball striker. And it seems like it only gets cleaner and smoother with every passing match. I think we've all got the volume off because we're talking to each other here. But when you got the volume on and you're watching Jannik Sinner, the sound is different. I can't think of any other player where it sounds the way it does off the racket for him.
Well, I remember last year, again, before you met Claire from Murray Musings saw Sinner at Wimbledon. and she's been on the show a couple of times. And she said that, yeah, she thought that Sinner's serve sounded incredible, different to anything else that she would have, a lot of other serves that she's heard while watching live. And that was the first time I think I realized that how big Sinner's serve was. So
yeah, it's like disorienting to watch somebody, and you know, that's just that slender be able to generate that much power. And I think, you know, for the recreational tennis players watching at home, it just shows it's all about the kinetic chain. It's not about having big muscles. It's fluidity and smoothness, and he's got that in spades because, man, he can just crush the ball.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, look, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm basically, it's amazing. I've got skin in my body, but I know that when I'm playing, my style, like I can hit the ball pretty deep, pretty much any shot, and can generate quite a bit of pace, particularly on return. So yeah, it's all about, as you said, the kinetics and how you swing and dealing with it more than sort of brute power. Which brings us to an interesting question from Nerlan asking Gokulp, who you seem to be his favorite today on the stream, whether you're a serve bot or a pusher. He thinks you're a serve bot.
I am the opposite of a serve bot. I'm not a return bot. I'm closer to a pusher, like Wozniacki, who can slice. No, I'm kidding. Not that. But he can slice too. But yeah, closer to a counter puncher. I love clay. So I'm playing on hard courts right now. It's not easy for me.
Zach, what's your tennis style like? I mean, I assume, and this is the perfect time for you to plug this as we're going to a change of ends, but I assume you talk about sort of your style and how you choose to play on your podcast.
Yeah, so I have a podcast called the Triangle Tennis Podcast. It's about focused on men's recreational tennis. We talk to a lot of players that are based out of my area, North Carolina, which we call the Triangle. And we talk about, you know, what kind of gear do you wear? What's your play style? Best tactics. We also do some match analysis where we talk with folks, and we also just get into like, hey, what do you do? Who are you? We have a ton of fun doing it. I don't think it's ever going global. Pretty niche, but we again have a ton of fun. My style is very, very simple. The best defense is a good offense. I like to swing big. I like to hit big. I don't particularly care for defense. I'm a bigger guy, and so I'd like to think that I move well for being a heavier set guy. But I'm not going to win any foot race, so I got to hit it hard, and I got to make it a lot. So I try and primarily play a serve +1 style. I've also found that the more I'm able to hit with pace consistently, I'm able to push players back a little bit, and that really, really opens it up for drop shots. And I think I have a buddy, Sam Fishman, who sold me on this strategy. He's like, look, basically any club recreational player, they're not going to have a strong backhand approach shot. So even if you hit a weak drop shot, a bad attempt, but it goes into the backhand side, you got a real chance. So serve +1, with the exception of I like to hit drop shots to their backhand.
Brutal, absolutely brutal. Yeah, I don't think my backhand's bad. It's depends.
Are you a one-hander or a two-hander guy?
I can do both.
Oh no, Nick! If you got both, you don't have either.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know which is so. Like, I generally play two. However, my one-hander is more of a weapon.
Interesting.
So yeah, no, I hit strong. Like I can get a lot more pace off my one than my two. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm not using the arm well on the backhand when it's a double hander. But there's something about the stroke with it, which is basically makes it a solid shot and a reliable shot. It doesn't actually break down very much, but it will give the shorter ball, or it'll be a safe shot. I can slice sometimes, and I can drop shot, but it's if I want to deploy a weapon on the backhand, I will switch to a one-hander for a one-off shot.
So you're like Songa, switching to one-hander for a passing shot.
Yeah. Something like that. But to be honest, I think if I'm thinking about like how I would play, I would say, and it's probably no surprise to other people watching, I try and play like Iga in terms of fast speed, big topspin forehand, and solid backhand. The difference between me and Iga is, one, she hits the ball harder than I do. Two, she gets it in way more often than I do. And three, no, that's basically it. That's basically like the two most important things, but pretty much all of it. So yeah, I like to play baseline because I find that more fun, and I think that may be to my detriment because I've basically tried to develop my strategy in terms of what I find fun to play rather than what's the most effective in getting me the win.
I don't think that. I think it's the way to do it, right? At the end of the day, realistically, none of us is going to make money playing tennis. So what are we doing out there? We're getting a little exercise. We're having a little fun. I think that's exactly right, Nick. And players should play the way that they enjoy playing. There's more to life than maximizing your tennis ability. It's about having a good time on the court. We've talked a little bit about play styles. I just want to touch on like the style broadly. Absolutely loving Jack Draper's drip right now. The purple. It works for me. I like the loud colors. I'm very American in that way. Like a little bit of brightness. Like it to be a little loud. And his outfit is super loud. That's also just a great fit. A little bit more breathable, a little bit roomier. If you're a bigger guy, you don't want the skin tight shirt. Makes you look all lumpy. It's no good.
And by the way, you were talking about effective game styles. No more effective than Jannik Sinner then, who just held to love for 3-all. And it does. I am getting the sense, like watching this match, obviously I'm having a lot of fun talking about recreational tennis, and I could definitely talk about that with a lot of people, particularly how bad I am, or at least how often I lose. It's a frustration of mine. But at the minute, it does seem to me, and I don't know whether G.O.A.T, you want to come on this first, that Sinner is by far the more comfortable player out there. As Draper double fault. No, it's a double fault because it's a first serve. But go on. Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Sinner being the more comfortable player out there right now?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's just, going with the same rally plan, still going to Draper's backhand, of which he got 2 unforced errors, by the way, in the last 4 or 5 points. And he approached the net, I think, 1 or 2 times as well. Draper also came forward in the last game. Both are attacking. But I feel like Sinner, he has like 73% first serve in. He's feeling comfortable right now.
73%. I mean, that's good for anyone.
Yeah.
What must that feel like? I don't think I'll ever know.
No, my serve's more like first serve is more like 50% on a good day.
Yeah. As usual so far, I agree with G.O.A.T. Sinner looks. He looks like he's won a major. He looks like he's been on this stage several times before. But I will say, the longer Draper's able to hang in there, the more confidence he's going to gain, the more used to Sinner's pace he's going to get. And so if I'm Sinner, I'd be hunting this break right now because it looks like he's got an opportunity.
Yeah, you might be slightly ahead of me there. But I'm seeing it's 15-30 for Draper, second serve. Sinner goes on the attack with a backhand. Oh, no, it's a let. It's a let. That's why. Again, you'll notice this, Zach. I don't have sound on, so I've got no idea when it's lets or out. So sometimes I will call something completely wrong as Draper hits a whacking forehand winner. No, that I could tell that from that was what's going on. So that's all.
Yeah, Sinner won't want to hit another return like that. A passive short return punished by Draper.
That's just Draper's bread and butter right there, isn't it?
Look at where Sinner is standing on Draper's serve on the deuce side. I mean, it is he's got his butt on the fence there.
Is this Rafa Nadal levels of return position?
It's pretty darn close. It's Medvedevian, I think you could say.
Yeah.
Oh, what a return from Jannik Sinner!
Wow.
Oh, he placed that almost perfectly. It was short, right in the corner, and caught Draper out completely. We have our first break point of the match, ladies and gentlemen. Also, apologies for any headphone users there. I keep forgetting I shout loud.
Big moment here.
Here we go. Draper's definitely looking disappointed in himself, and the kit might be the best thing about his day so far. Let's see how this goes. First serve from Draper is well out of court. steps back to the baseline under pressure. But biggest pressure moment of the match so far. First pressure moment of the match. Second serve delivery. Sinner's going to put it middle of the court. Forehand from Draper to the Sinner. Backhand cross court. Forehand Draper. Wild and out of court. Sinner breaks for 4-3.
I guess he was hunting that break. Holy moly. That's I mean, look, I don't want to be a negative Nelly here, but that's the end of this set. So best of luck in set 2 to Jack Draper. No way is he getting that break back.
With the way Sinner's serving, I'd have to agree. Sorry, go on, Go Cup.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. I mean, was it a second serve and volley at 30-all? I mean, it looks so good when it's a successful volley. But would you do that? I mean, yeah, that was a brilliant return from Sinner. Nothing to do for that.
If the goal is to play high percentage tennis, I think tactically that would have been a huge error. I think I am actually encouraged at that attempt, though, because it shows me that Draper, he's not playing to hang in there. He's playing to win. And those are the kind of risks and the kind of aggression I think he's going to have to show to have a shot here at stealing a set or maybe even the match. Didn't work out, but I think that I understand the choice.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a like strategy, I totally respect that. I remember that a lot with Federer. Like second serve, he used to come after that. But like first serve would have been like much better. Sometimes it seems like it's out of desperation, but maybe not this time. It was just 30-all. It's okay.
Yeah.
My mom is watching, by the way, gang. So I just want to say hi, Mom. If everybody wants to say hello, you're welcome to as well.
Hello from Turkey. Hi.
Are you coming to us from Turkey, aren't you, Gokul?
Yes.
Yeah. Is your mother Jill Hawkins?
Yes, indeed.
Hello,
boy.
Jill.
Mom.
She was in the chat 20 minutes ago. So, hi, Jill.
Thanks for backing me up, Mom.
My mum watches me sometimes too, but she's never commented in the chat. So
I'm gonna call my mom to just put her game up. Yeah.
I wonder if we could get a stream of like everyone's mums and see who'd be best. Like whose tennis mums would be would get the most interesting insights.
I not to brag on my mom too much here, but she was a bit of an athlete and is a bit of an athlete. She crushes the ball. Give her a racket, a club, a bat, whatever, a stick for field hockey. She crushes it. And so I wish that I inherited 100% of her hand-eye. I got some of it, but my mom is definitely the athlete in the family.
Got a love 15 here in this game, which we need to keep an eye on. But you guys were talking about sort of the strategy going on from Draper, and Dave is in the chat. So hi, Dave. For those of you, and actually, Zach, Dave's actually, I believe, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, Dave, I think you're a coach and am I right that you're also from Texas? Since goes wide, actually, love 30. But what do you think about this insight from Dave that Draper actually needs to come in as much as possible, despite the risks that we were talking about?
I think sorry.
Oh, sorry. Zach, you spoke, so go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it gives him the best chance to win the match. I don't know about it as much as possible, but certainly I think a higher percentage than he normally does. I think he's got to be smart about it. But he doesn't want to get an extended baseline rallies with center. He's got to get forward. Points got to be quick. So I think Super Dave from Texas is like 99% right with that.
Backhand to the forehand of Sinner, trading cross court at the minute. Really pressure, interesting point here. Sinner's going to go up the line with a forehand. The Draper forehand who changes to cross court to the Sinner. Backhand who accelerates there as a dangerous move. Forehand up the line from Sinner into the net. We've got 3 breakback points for Jack Draper. Wow. That was unexpected.
What a game. What's happening?
I'll tell you this much. Anyone who said that the break wasn't going to happen here would be feeling pretty dumb right now. Whoopsies.
What a time for Sinner's level to drop and the errors to start creeping in. Here we go. Breakback points. We're going to focus here as we get a lovely panning shot of the biggest stadium in the world, Arthur Ashe Stadium, here at the Billie Jean King Centre at Flushing Meadows. First serve from Sinner is way too good. It's unreturnable. No one in the world could get that back. And it's 15-40. Probably an exaggeration, but we're here. But good commentary is all about the hyperbole. 117 down the tee, as Brazy is telling us. Great to see that, by the way, I was right, and that Dave is a tennis coach from Texas. So 1540. Jannik Sinner bouncing the ball. Let's not get people mixed up. I've got into trouble for that before. Second serve. I'll tell you a story about this another time. Second serve from Sinner out wide. Backhand Draper from deep in court. Forehand Sinner on the attack. Draper's going to get a racket on the forehand, but he miscues it. There was a very deep forehand at the line from Sinner, and Draper's missed another breakpoint chance. 30-40. Your bride might still be saved, Zach.
Pressure point for Sinner. Pressure point for me. Let's see how this goes.
Can Sinner prove Zach right? Here we go. 30-40. It's never.
And I hope to be wrong. I want Draper to get the break here. I want a good match. So I hope to look silly shortly.
30-40. Sinner served up the tee. Another great tee serve, but it was missed. So, again, can't hear it. So here we go. Second serve, really short from Sinner. Now goes for the forehand cross court. Again, not going much for depth there. Still trading cross court with Draper, forehand to backhand. Now Draper's going to accelerate for the forehand up the line. Sinner's going to move around for the inside end forehand, which he nets. And Draper's broken back in 4 games all.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, that was totally unpredictable.
That was weirdly cautious from Sinner. Like, he was really holding back, and then when he did try and accelerate, he missed the shot.
Yeah, very tentative on several forehands in that game. I think he had the first point, it was a backhand error, and then 2 forehand unforced errors in that game from Sinner.
What a confidence boost for Draper to get his first break in the first set. I mean, that's a big moment for him today.
Very uncharacteristically sloppy from Sinner in that game. He almost pulled it back, but but you could tell he was holding back a bit, and you can see Draper now is serving with confidence because that was another bomb from him with the lefty serve.
125 this time.
What's Draper's biggest serve? Does anyone know?
I want to say in Winston at 131, but I think
he's just hit a 130 that didn't even find the.
That was on the baseline.
Oh, it's a double fault again. Tell you what, Draper's double faulting a lot this match. I don't know what the double fault stats is. Yeah, no, he's hit 3 double faults this match. That's 3 times too many.
And his first serve percentage is at 48 versus 62 of Sinner's.
I'm seeing a couple at 130 for Draper. I'm not seeing much above that. 128, 130.
Yeah, Sinner managed to force an error from Draper there to get to 15-30. Forehand, really deep. That was the kind of shot he was looking for to try and avoid the break last game. Brazy saying that he's seen Sinner hit 130, Draper hit 133 against Felix. Also, I don't know if you're paying attention to the chat, Golkal, but Nerland's definitely wants your attention.
Yeah, I have to answer that question on like Twitter or something because that's food related, not even tennis.
Yeah, there you go. Just tweet Golkal if you want to get some of these answers. Huge forehand up the line winner from Jack Draper. What a shot!
Amazing!
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think this is what Zach was talking about. Like go for the shots, like these kind of moments, these kind of forehands. Wow, that was a sick return.
That's a heat check. That shot.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got our resident Monfils fan in the chat, Kren Boogie, who's basically saying that Sinner's performance has been dope so far. I think you're again late with that comment, Kren. I'm going to be honest. But 30 all, second serve for Draper. shortish. Sinner's going to run around and hit the forehand because that was a nasty bit of curve on that. Backhand up the line from Sinner. King Draper on the defense. He's moving Draper around with the backhand at the minute. Still going backhand into the net from Sinner cross court. And again, it's another kind of trying to tune up shot that's gone in the net.
Yeah, Sinner's almost caught up in unforced error count, 9-11.
You can tell he's lost a little bit of focus. He's rushing a little bit, like he's trying to almost. I don't know whether he's going for too much, but he's like all my points only like Sinner being very good at executing his game. That's gone out the window as Draper's coming in behind that shot. Great forehand volley. Oh, the Sinner forehand pass attempt looked like it might be brilliant, but it goes well out of court. And yeah, suddenly we're at 5-4, and Sinner's going to be serving to stay in the set when we about last change events thought we were going to be looking at Sinner serving it out.
You know, a moment ago, I was going to say it seems like Draper has lost something on his second serve or is tentative. And now I'm wondering, is he, I believe I'm not wondering, I believe that he is just mixing up the pace and trying to make it harder for Sinner to get and stay in a rhythm. And I guess there's some evidence to suggest it might be working there.
There we go. Yeah, it's slowly starting to mix things up, which means that Sinner's got to adapt to it. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, is that why Sinner and Alcaraz is such an interesting matchup? Because Alcaraz has that ability to mix things up so well.
I sure think so. You know, there's classic fire and ice style. You know, Alcaraz, it's all passion and creativity, and Sinner is a little bit more stable, steady, even. You know, he plays by the book a little bit more. And I think it's why we're going to get a decade of awesome matches. I feel like this might very well be the best time ever to be a professional tennis player. We've got the GOAT still active. We've got maybe one more run from Nadal. We've got these two young guys who are clearly going to be in a battle for maybe a decade, maybe even a little bit more than that. And we just got some really, really fun games and personalities on the tour right now. I just feel really, really lucky to be a tennis fan watching in this day and age. And that's just the just the ATP, and the WTA is even better. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad you said WTA is even better because I would agree with that. I would say it's a much more interesting spot dynamic wise. I mean, okay, the leading players were, I said no, they're both. I said the leading players on both are probably about as consistent to each other now. So there we go. Right, can we see if Sinner can close this out? Can stay in the set? He's put the first serve into the net, so it's not an ideal start. How much of an interesting story we're going to end up here, as we're going to chat around what guacamole for some reason in the chat. But hey, you guys do you. And it's 15-love as Draper's gone into the tram lines with that shot. I mean, I think Dave, I don't know if you're familiar, but you were there earlier when Zach was plugging his podcast, but obviously he's got a podcast talking about his journey as an amateur player. But obviously you're kind of curious about, oh gosh, I've missed the question now. Sorry, Dave. You're going to have to bring it back up. It's got lost in all the chat, but all the other chat. But there we go. Yeah, racket grip and strings are you using?
Oh, so I have been on a bit of a journey on both fronts. So I typically like to use a blend of soft polys, and I used to use gut. I've made the switch from soft to now soft polys and synthetic gut. I like it strong at 54 and 48. The grips, I'm constantly trying new ones. I think the Turner grip is a classic. You know, Pete Sampras popularized it. I'm an American player. It certainly works, and I think it's best in the summer. Now that it's cooling off here a little bit, I actually slightly prefer the Prince over grips. I think that Prince has excellent tennis products and a horrendous marketing department. I'm biased because I play with a Phantom 97P. So that's my general equipment setup. I like the smaller frame. I wish that I could go full poly. My shoulder just can't take it anymore. I had about a year and a half of arm troubles after playing with the Arrow Plus with a little bit of lead on it and full polys. It's just, I'm in my 30s, ain't gonna work anymore.
That's
If you
interesting.
have
that, like,
recommendations, I want them, by the way, Dave. So feel free to
it's
suggest
nice
them.
to see that you and I are still repping the Prince racket. Because I've been playing with the same Prince racket since I was 17. I've
What's the
restrung
racket?
it. Oh, I don't even know anymore. I'm not that much of a tennis nerd that I actually know what kind of rackets they are. I just know it's a Prince racket. I've had it restrung a couple of times, but still the same old frame. But yeah, when was I 17? 13 years ago. So so it was probably a fairly old model at this point. But yeah, we're into a rally here. Sinner's gone wide with a cross-court forehand, trying to convert this game point. Prince did used to be very popular back in the day, Sean, but only really used on the tour by David Ferrer and John Isner, I think. And then they kind of disappeared.
Kren Boogie pointed out in the chat that the people's goat, Monfils, did also play with the Prince racket for a while there. I think that they went bankrupt, and now in the States at least, all their rackets are distributed through Tennis Warehouse, which is great for me because it's headquartered in Atlanta, so it gets here pretty quickly whenever I get a racket or strings or whatever. But you can't even buy it at a retailer anymore.
I think we might have to cut this conversation short because Sinner's. Oh no, Sinner didn't miss. I thought Sinner missed the forehand, but I think Draper missed first. No, I was right. Sinner did miss the forehand. The scoreboard disappearing confused me for a moment there. But first we're back to deuce, and suddenly again, few unforced errors is putting the game kind of bit more in jeopardy here, and Sinner could be about to lose this set. First serve from Sinner's good, though. Now follows up with a forehand, but it's right into Draper's forehand, striking and goes up the line. Forehand Sinner, bit of loop on Draper's shot. Backhand Draper up the line. Backhand Sinner to the Draper forehand. Oh, clips the line somehow. Sinner gets to it. And we've got a backhand up the line from Sinner. Now Draper's going to go up the line. Backhand Sinner, cross court, short. Draper's going to go through the forehand. Backhand Sinner really deep. And now Draper can't control it, trying to change direction up the line. Could see what he was trying to do, but that was too difficult a shot to pull off. There's advantage to Jannik Sinner. Gokap, you were going to say something there.
I was gonna say Draper's returning beautifully this game. Like it's been very deep, and he chipped one as well. So he's mixing the return up. He's laser focused. I really like it, but I think Sinner's gone a lot to Draper's forehand. So maybe it's become like a bit too predictable for Draper. Anyway, I think if this goes to a tiebreak, it's gotta boost his confidence returning those points.
Sinner's got the advantage. Ace closes it out 5-all.
What a set! What a set! Hey, we got a live one here, folks. I mean, this, by the way, is why tennis is the most perfect scoring system ever devised. 30 seconds ago, Draper was 2 points away, 35 seconds away from winning the set, and now they might be playing the set for another 20 minutes to go to a tiebreaker here. I mean, there's no other scoring system like it.
Definitely, and it's much more competitive than I would have ever thought. Not the set, but the match. So I'm very happy. I
mean, let's see. This is only set one. Let's see what happens after, depending on who wins the first set. Great rally here going on at the minute. Backhand percentage to the final Draper. So he's going to go inside out on the forehand, nets it 15-love. But that was a lovely rally from the two of them. Like both really kind of going for it and coping with what each other were throwing at each other up until. Sinner nested it.
Can we just get a little love for Nick in the chat with that call? I mean, that's electric, man. I'm watching the match and I'm on the edge of my seat, not because of the tennis, but because of the call here. The energy you're bringing is fantastic.
I don't know if I can keep it up for a whole match. We'll best of five. We'll give it a go. Tell you what, the most impressed I've ever been with a call on the channel is. John did the entire Wimbledon 2023 final between Djokovic and Alcaraz by himself.
Wow. No way. 5 sets.
Yes. He did all 5 sets by himself. I don't know why he didn't have a backup. I think I do know why he didn't backup because I was away at a bachelor party that weekend and didn't know when I was going to get back. So I didn't tell him I was free. I did get back in time to catch the end of the match, but I had no idea what was happening with the stream. And then when I watched it back, I was like, John did that match by himself.
Wow. How long was that match? That was a 5-hour plus?
Something like that.
Sheesh.
So
Tennis
we're going to
watch
try and
along,
avoid.
Hall
Yeah.
of Fame.
Yeah.
that,
So I
ki-
really
that kind
agree.
of. Yeah.
Marathon man. 30-15, Jack Draper, second serve. Double faults, 30 all. 5 all, 30 all. I love it when the scoreboard gets to that.
So that's his fourth of the set. You
Something
know,
like that.
if he's gonna get that many double faults, he's got to be. If he was being ultra aggressive on his second serve, that would be a livable number, but he's not, and so he's got to clean that up a little bit here.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to crack under pressure here. First, and he doesn't there because that's a brutal ace with the lefty serve swinging out, just kisses the line and speeds away. That's a serve that pretty much even other pros are going to be jealous of.
I like just to go back to the gear for a second. I like the shooter sleeve on Draper. I don't know if that's a style thing or a medical thing or what, but it's basketball influenced and a good look.
Oh, I mean, that was a point that literally could have gone either way there. Draper drop shotted. It wasn't the best drop shot in the world, but it probably shouldn't have needed to be given how far back Sinner was. But Sinner still chased it down, hits a brilliantly deep backhand, and Draper can't control it because it comes off the baseline.
Yeah, Sinner was like on the back of the court. I think that was a good, drop shot, but still reached for it.
So we've got a juice point here for Draper. Sinner goes on the attack. Draper's going to come into the net. Sinner goes on the attack. Draper nets puts the backhand over the baseline.
You know, I noticed that Draper's got some tape on his fingers there, and I don't know if that is preventative or I don't know if he's been dealing with blisters in this tournament, but certainly something to keep an eye on, especially if this is a long match on a hot day in New York.
Break point. First break point for Draper, who's got a second serve coming up. Crazy picking up on the points from before. Oh, what another ace from Draper. That was high risk, but he got it. Kren is saying that he thinks this match is a foregone conclusion. But, watching this, you wouldn't say that, right?
Certainly not. You know what I'd say to Kren, though? If you live in a country where betting is legal and you believe it that strongly, put a bet on it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Another ace. Wow.
He's finding the big serves, Draper.
Yeah.
Probably I've got a Draper question to ask you guys. I think would be interesting. But yeah, first serve is missed by Jack Draper. Second serve. Oh, he's double faulted again. The game continues. He went for too much in that second.
What's happening? Like 3 aces, 2 double faults just in this game? Something like that?
Is he feeling like he has to go for a lot on both sets of serves here? Because Sinner's returned position.
Certainly he is, but I got to tell you, he's hitting a strong second serve, but it's not hyper aggressive. He is not being aggressive enough on his second serve to have 5 double faults in only his 6th service game.
Sinner's stepping in on a forehand. He's at the net to defend. Oh, Draper goes for the pass and overcooks it. It was there to be hit. He just missed it. Sinner's got break point.
That was not a good volley.
From Sinner. No, it was kind of set up on it.
Yeah. But anyway, if you come to the net, those are your chances of winning the point, even if it isn't the best volley,
This is drama.
Can Sinner get the break here? Backhand in play. No, he's missed it. He just missed the backhand on the return, and it's when I say just, camera angle deceived me there, but it's back to Deuce. Draper maybe getting a little bit lucky with that one. Difficult to say because it was the first serve. It's hard to get a play on it. But yeah, Deuce number 4. Great serve from Draper. Short return from Sinner. Slice from Draper. Sinner's going to come in on the defense. Forehand back behind from Draper to the backhand. Draper's going to change direction. Sinner's there to hit the forehand. Cross court from Draper. Back forehand from Draper to the backhand of Draper. Forehand inside out from Draper this time. Trying to push Sinner to the backhand into the forehand corner. It's really going on here. Still going cross court to cross court and finds the Draper backhand that breaks down. The cross court to cross court rally. At the end, Sinner's going to outlast you 9 times out of 10. It's another breakpoint chance for the Italian.
Yeah. I don't get this. Like, he opened the court 3-4 times in that rally, and he didn't go for the open court.
Just being a little tentative on that point.
Yeah.
I think how could he not be feeling the pressure at this stage?
It felt like he was constantly trying to wrong foot Sinner, but there's just a point where if you just keep going there, your opponent's going to realize what you're doing.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the Sinner effect. He's so fast and he moves so well that I think that he induces those kind of errors from players that don't normally make them.
Definitely, yeah.
Double fault from Draper to finish the game. So he's going to serve for it 6-5.
Sean Power in the chat says, "Is Draper as clutch as Djokovic these days?" And if he's being funny, that's very funny.
Well, there's 2 ways of reading that. Zach. It's either, is Draper now clutch as we think Djokovic? We think that Djokovic we think he is his prime, or are we saying is Draper as clutch as the 2024 Djokovic, which is a different person?
Either way, I find that to be amusing because if he's saying, is this Draper as clutch as career Djokovic? No, and not particularly close.
Oh. He said Sinner, I mean. I was going to answer that as well, but then he said Sinner.
Sorry, Sean.
I also had an answer, but then I saw his second comment.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who got them mixed up at one point.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. Like, my worst match for calling, Zach, you'll find this funny, is we did a stream from Charleston, and it was Pegula Azarenka, and I kept calling Azarenka Sabalenka the entire stream.
Oh, well, you know, there's an Enka. I can see that. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Do you want to answer the actual question, which is Sinner as clutch as Korea Djokovic?
Go Cop, do you want to go first or you want me to take this first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think that could he get there? Absolutely. I think it's too early in his career. And I'd say the same is true for Alcaraz. I don't think that we can put that on them yet because, you know, part of being clutch is being able to sustain it. And Djokovic has sustained it for 15 plus years. I believe that Sinner can get there. I believe that Alcaraz can get there too. I'm not sure that anybody else in the tour can even really get close, but those two, they've got what it takes. But, you know, look, they're 22, 23 years old. They're making tens of millions of dollars a year. And I think that's the thing that separates the big three so much from previous generations is just the sheer longevity with which they were able to do it and the dedication that it took from all of them to last that long. I hope that Sinner and Alcaraz will bring that out in each other. But we just don't know. And I think it's going to be another 8-9 years before we can actually really fully answer that question.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying with that because, yeah, it depends if you like your career. I think there's a lot of these comparisons. Like you're trying to compare people in the middle of their career to someone who's finished theirs. That being said, I still think you can tell certain characteristics of players, and there's definitely a certain pattern to the players who end up succeeding in this sport.
Yeah.
Go Cup, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone can do it actually, because this guy has been like, if you're talking about clutch, like it's not about shots or, you know, athleticism, flexibility, not even those. Like he's done incredible stuff, like saving match points against Federer on 3 Grand Slam occasions, like 2 US Open semifinals, Wimbledon final. And then like last year's tiebreak unforced errorless streak, like it was like 35 points or something like that without an unforced error. Like those are crazy levels of clutch, and I don't know. Like Alcaraz probably definitely not, and he's not going to work for it because his style is. I don't think he will ask for it. Maybe Sinner is more inclined to try to achieve that, but I don't know how one can come up to those levels. Maybe Nadal was also like that, like never giving up, like going for every point. But yeah, I don't know if anyone can do that. But we were saying that, about Sampras's record in 2004, which got broken in like 5 years later. So maybe someone can do it.
2004.
Yeah, when we were talking about like in 2004, Sampras had 14 slams, and it's impossible to.
Oh, right.
And then 5 years later, he was just clapping.
Because I don't know why was it 2004. Sampras retired in 2002. But
No. I mean, like at that time, like no one was gonna come close. They were saying
general period, yeah, and I fully see that, and let's see, because it's a big ask. Right, fully love. Three set points for Jannik Sinner to put this set away and get him the advantage in the match, which he'll have to hold for at least a couple of sets. So here we go. First serve from Sinner delivery. Draper swipes the forehand, but it's definitely a swipe. It's nowhere near the court. And Jannik Sinner is a setup 7-5. Good couple. Am I right in thinking you're only with us this set?
One more set.
Oh, you can do 2 sets. I thought there was one person who couldn't do more than 1 set.
I've got to hop here in the next 15 minutes or so. And so before I get out of here, I just want to say, Nick, thank you so much to you and the gang for having me on. This has been a blast. Everybody in the chat, thanks for all your engagement. Thanks for some really good questions. Huge shout out to Kren Boogie, who said the dumbest thing of the day with Alcaraz fading in 3 years. That is, I hope that's a troll. That's absurd. But other than that, it's been a ton of fun and really interesting stuff.
All right. Well, before you go, Zach, I want to kind of hear your perspective on how you would summarize that set and how you think the match is going to progress from here.
Yeah, I think it was an admirable set from Draper. I think that he played some moments of encouragement, some bright spots. And when I say bright spots, I mean for the future. I do not mean for the future of this match. I think that, as I think both of y'all identified beforehand, and I think that some of the folks have said in the chat, this is Sinner's match to lose. I think Sinner's going to win. Maybe there's a world in which Draper can steal a set, but it just seems like the gap is too big between the two of them in a best of 5. Look, if it's a best of 3 and it's a hot day and maybe Sinner, had a late match the night before, who knows? But with a little bit of rest in this world on this court today, it's going to be Sinner. Thank you, ATX Super Dave. I've heard that once or twice before. I'm a fan of his content, and he seems like a swell fella. So I take that very much as a compliment.
There we go. Well, Zach Rogan, it's been
so important to make it clear that that's Seth Rogen, not Joe Rogan, because one is funny and cool, and the other is a series of words that I can't say on this stream.
Yeah, I got Robin Soderling on this channel and another football coach in the last episode. So I would have taken Seth Rogen if I was
Which football coach?
Giovanni van Bronckhorst, like soccer coach.
Yeah. I see. I don't know who the soccer coach is. I see it a touch on the Soderling.
Okay. Then that person had something. All right.
Well, listen, gents, thanks again for having me. I'll get out of your way. Enjoy the rest of the match. And hey, we're gonna have an American in the finals for the first time in a long time. Anything can happen.
We could have got around to talking about that with you, but oh well, another time. Zach, thank you so much for coming on. And I had an absolute blast for the last hour with you, and I would love you to come back.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick. And at some point, we're going to have to get you on the Triangle Tennis Podcast. And if you're ever stateside, we'll get a hit up. We'll get a hit set up.
That's because you know it's a match you can easily win. So I will
guys.
leave you to it. Cheers, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Second set has started. So you've got me and Gokal for a bit. We do have Vanch coming at some point, hopefully soon. But we'll have a good time, Gokal, you and I.
Yes.
As we get to 15-all in this opening game of the second set on the Draper serve. And I think one I want to see how this game works out, obviously, is there was a great passing shot winner from Jannik Sinner there. Just, again, running everything down that Draper gets. And it does seem that, if we've been saying, Sinner's got something a bit extra at the minute.
Yeah, it's one of those sets when at the end, Sinner was kind of supposed maybe to lose at some point, and then Draper with the double faults. Like when you come out of that set, I think as the winner, you're probably much more relaxed, and as the loser of the set, you probably have that wasted opportunity on your shoulders. So maybe the beginning of the set will show that in both players.
We've got a second serve, which is returned by Sinner on the backhand. Again, they're trading cross court. They went changing direction of the forehand up the line. Forehand from Sinner to the backhand of Draper. Forehand Sinner again into the net. So lets Draper off the hook a little bit there with that 30-all point. That did feel like these longer rallies. I do get the feeling they are a little bit on Sinner's racket because they're either ending with him changing the point up that Draper can't do anything about it, or he's making an unforced error.
Yeah, it's, not the best Sinner still. Also in the first set, he had a lot of unforced errors after going up a break. His level kind of dropped, and I think it's still not up there where he would like it to be in a Grand Slam semifinal. So maybe Draper can take advantage of that.
40-30, huge serve from Draper, then follows up with a +1 forehand inside in, forehand, backhand Sinner across court. Sinner's going on the inside out, forehand to the Draper, forehand going inside, trading inside out, forehands now, backhand cross court from Draper on the defense from Sinner, and Draper pings the net, and it's gone well out where it juice. Not a great rally there from Draper, kind of exemplifying what we were talking about there.
Yeah, in the first set, excluding the double faults, they had the same number of unforced errors. So
So when you take double faults out, they're pretty even.
Yeah.
So Draper's serve is letting him down at the minute. Still second serve to come, but it's not really good for him at this point. Forehand from Sinner, the backhand Draper cross court, forehand Sinner cross court, backhand Draper up the line, backhand Sinner to the forehand inside up from Draper, forehand Sinner cross court, backhand Draper cross court, the forehand of Sinner, backhand Draper up the line, backhand Sinner cross court, forehand Draper up the line. Sinner's still picking everything up, but it's long from Draper, and there we go. It's advantage Jannik Sinner for a very early break in this set.
Yeah.
Pressure on Draper. You can tell it at the minute. Like, he's feeling like he's got to go for a serve. He knows that his serve is the thing that's going to help him keep up with Sinner. They've played nothing but close sets so far in their career, but he needs to make sure that his serve keeps him going here. Otherwise, this next set might be the least competitive they've played. First serve from Draper is good out wide. Backhand then cross court. There's a forehand who comes really low over the net, slice from Draper. So he's going to run around to hit side out forehand. Cross court forehand from Draper. So he's somehow going to get the backhand. Oh! He tried to go for around the net post, but did not have enough on it. Great cross court forehand from Draper to settle the point, and it is juice.
Yeah, that was a different forehand. Nice angle on it. Sinner had to move.
Yeah.
And I think Sinner thought Draper was going to go down the line, which he didn't. Wrong-footed him. He was trying that from the beginning of the match, like we were saying. This time it worked. And it was a break point.
Draper's first serve on the juice side is still letting him down. By the way, I'm loving all the back and forth on the chat. It's quite an interesting comparison there between Emma Navarro and Gaston Gaudio. Drop shot from Draper, catches Sinner up, but Sinner somehow gets to it. Oh, but the pass from Draper threads the needle. Sinner looked like he was going to run it down, but not quick enough. Advantage Draper.
Brilliant. I think he was tired of those long rallies. Just went for the drop shot immediately, and a brilliant pass.
Indeed, absolutely fantastic from Draper. That's probably the best point he's played in a while, but it does feel like he has to play exceptional tennis to keep up with a Jannik Sinner who, yes, may not be his best, but you get the feeling if Sinner cleans up the errors, there's nothing Draper can do. That's a tight backhand from Draper, who's going up the line there. Now forehand up the line on the pushback from Sinner. Still, Draper tried to go for the finishing inside-out forehand. He completely missed it, and it's back to deuce. But maybe that was an ambitious shot choice.
Yeah, footwork wasn't right, I guess. That was too short from Sinner. Draper wasn't ready for that. But yeah, I think when you want to go to the net as much as possible, you miss less of those kind of shots because you're already there. Maybe he's going to do that in the next points.
Brazier making an interesting point there. He feels like the Draper's redlining. I don't know if he's redlining because he's making too many mistakes, but he's definitely pushing himself way too much. Oh, yeah. Draper tries to stretch for the overhead at the net.
Yeah, this is not working for him. This is now he's 0 for 3 in second serve and volleys.
Sabbed. Sneak attack by Draper is not working.
As far as I remember, he won the only serve and volley after his first serve. But yeah, he's 5 for 12 in first serves this game. First serve ins.
He's over 12 first serves. That's an insane stat given how many juices we've had. Peaches, hello. We haven't had you in ages, or haven't seen you in ages. Lovely to get you. Oh, he's got a net court that somehow still lands in the court, catches Sinner out, and Sinner's gone wide. Really, really fortunate point from Draper there.
Yeah, touch of luck. Always helpful.
What a game this is.
Yeah, already. How many break points has it been? 3, I think.
3, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, 8-minute game. 4th juice. Yeah, that would be about right. Draper's 13th service delivery is a let. Reset. First serve up the tee. Missed it. I still can't get a ball in the juice court. Second serve from Draper. Forehand Sinner up the line. Forehand Draper inside out. The forehand of Sinner. Long. Advantage to Draper to try and finally get out of this game.
And Sinner is really... Yeah, I was just going to say Sinner was really expecting that to his backhand. He's so close to the tee when he's, waiting for the return. Maybe a few wide serves on that side will help Draper.
Jane, what's Draper's coach saying? Be interested to hear that because you've obviously got your sound on there. Backhand in play. Backhand from Sinner is wide. Draper holds. What a game, got out, but somehow Draper holds.
Big game. How many breakpoints saved? I don't even remember.
What do you think of this comment by Peaches? Draper is Sinner's biggest challenge of the tournament. I don't know if it's more than... I don't know if it's more of a challenge than Medvedev. I still rate Medvedev's challenge higher. What about you, Cockhelp?
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought Medvedev is going to win. So yeah, as a past U.S. Open champion on a good serving day, I thought Medvedev would be a bigger challenge. But yeah, with Draper, I always have that: is he going to hold up physically? Question in my mind, because he
Mhm.
said something after the Minor match, like he felt something, but he's much better at managing himself, managing any physical issue. It's not like before. He's able to play through stuff now in this season much more, unless it's a big injury. But yeah, there's that question mark with Draper. I feel like.
Gosh, there's a lot of points here I want to come back on from you as well as in the chat. Peach is saying that Medvedev was a challenge for Draper too, but their match for Sinner too, but their match was very confusing. But I want to get your thoughts on Draper actually, as someone who isn't a Brit. So I'll give you a bit of context for this. In the UK at the minute, Draper is now very much being anointed as the Britain's next big Grand Slam hope, and there's been so much hype over him for a whole week now.
Wow.
Especially in the BBC, like the mainstream media, like everyone's like, guys, this is Jack Draper, this is going to be like, he's the guy. And like it was a very basic thing, but the BBC even included like how he could beat Sinner, like some tactically. I read it, I didn't think it was too deep on the analysis. Draper's got love 30 here. But I wanted to know what your thoughts on Draper's prospects were. Are the Brits right to hype him up, or has he still got a few limitations that might make you question whether he's going to lift a Grand Slam trophy?
Grand Slam trophy. Oh, yeah. The physical stuff come to mind because he, was hampered with injuries a lot these past few seasons since he made his debut, apparently at Queens against Sinner, as we found out today. But apart from that, like huge forehand and huge serve. Is that enough to win 7 matches in a row?
Not anymore.
Maybe not like these 2 years, but I mean, he definitely seems to have the potential, because you can, like, after watching his interviews, you get the sense that he's very willing to put in the work and learn and, play as many tournaments as he needs to. So you get that out of him. So like Wimbledon, why not? I think grass suits his game very well. So I wouldn't count it out. Yeah.
Wouldn't count it out. But he's going to have a real battle for it.
Yeah.
At the minute, Sinner looks like he's taking himself out of his game with 30 all, like an ace to get out of trouble there. And actually, don't forget, Sinner is someone who also had to deal with an insane amount of injuries very early in his career. And it's only now that, and even now, actually, there's still that question mark with him. But it's not as big as it was, because he seems to be able to play through it most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. Like last year, this time, I think I would have said the same thing about Sinner, maybe. But these past 12 months, he's been a completely different player physically. So, like that match he lost to Zverev here, that was a disappointment, but maybe we would have said, yeah, Jannik in 5 sets. He's losing 5 sets, like to Alcaraz, to Altmaier, to all these people back to back to back in Grand Slams. Now he's written a completely different type of story in these past 12 months. So why not Draper?
Backhand wide from Sinner. Deuce didn't finish the game off. This could be a long set at this rate if they keep doing this.
Yeah.
Callum Sky back in Sinner's box. After what I thought was a bit of a break. 6 seconds to serve for Jannik Sinner. 5, 4. Clock's going to hit 0 as he serves. Misses it. He can't afford he doesn't want to do a scrappy game here, because I think if Draper gets through that previous service game, double fault from Sinner, advantage Draper. Yeah, I don't know. That's Sinner's first double fault of the match. if Draper breaks here, then the challenge is going to be, can he hold Sinner off for a set?
Hmm.
Advantage, Draper. First serve from Sinner. Wide. Still break point. The crowd trying to catch the ball, which was bouncing through people, bouncing off people. Forehand on the attack from Draper. Backhand Sinner. Forehand Draper wild. He went for too much on that forehand.
Oh my god. That was a big miss too. Like by a large distance, by a long distance. I mean, both of them are lacking the first serve. Like, Sinner at 38%, 3 out of 8 in this game. Draper 36% in that last game. Whoever finds their first serve first probably get their rhythm back.
Brazy, I read the comment. I don't think I should read it out loud. But it's a good one. Deuce. Second serve, Sinner. Backhand, Draper. Forehand, Sinner. Mid-court. Forehand, Draper up the line. Backhand, Sinner cross court. To the forehand of Draper, which is just clips the line. Sinner to get there, though. And Draper goes back behind Sinner on the inside out. Somehow Sinner gets it on the forehand. Backhand, forehand, cross court. Backhand, short from Sinner. Now he's still going cross court at the minute. Draper's going to change direction up the line. Sinner's scrambling that one. What's Draper going to do with the forehand? He's going to drop shot it. Interesting choice. Not good enough on the drop shot. Sinner's going to reach it. And Draper, tried to go for the lob and missed it. Advantage Sinner. That maybe should have been a point that Draper won.
He went for the drop shot.
I can see what he was doing. That was not a good drop shot.
He did everything until that last shot. Yeah, what defense from Sinner? Like he has so much balance. Even when he was wrong-footed, he put some forehands very deep into the court.
Advantage.
Yeah, I would say good signs for Draper though. Like he's played a brilliant rally until the drop shot.
Yeah, he's not counting himself out of this, but there's a definite lack of. He's overplaying when he sees he's got an opportunity to finish the rally. Another long one here. Cross court from Draper on the backhand is wide. We get so Sinner holds. What a 2 service games we've had to open the second set.
Yeah.
Also, Nolan, I don't know what you're talking about, so I don't know what a PA club is.
Yeah, we watched 24 points in these first 2 games. That's crazy.
So I need to stop trying to call point by point every time. I'm going to lose my voice.
Yeah, just the break points and
maybe the big points. Well, let's see how this game goes because I don't think we need to worry about that right now. Let's talk about because I saw there was some back and forth in the chat earlier around the other semi-finals coming up and Fritz and Tiafoe. Who do you think would be the tougher challenge for whoever wins this match? Oh, badness from Draper.
Like game-wise, I don't think there's a lot of difference. So I would go Tiafoe just because how much he likes playing on this court and how much the crowd love him. So I would say Tiafoe probably. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Tiafoe with a crowd behind him is a very different prospect. This is the guy who pushed Alcaraz to 5 in a semi-final.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think about all the possible outcomes, because I did do a poll in our Talking Tennis chat, like which would be the most potentially interesting final we could get, and a lot of people thought it would be Draper Tiafoe actually. That's what actually won, which I can see why, because that would be very much a battle of the beloved underdogs. Draper versus Fritz would be a bit of a serve bot match, I think. I mean, it's not like they both have other things, but they are known for the serve and forehand. It would just be a lefty righty contrast. But yeah, Tiafoe against either of them would be incredibly entertaining. It's great inside cross court forehand from Sinner. He's got the overhead there, puts it away 15-30, trying to set up another break opportunity here. Is the Italian. Sinner Tiafoe, I think, has a lot of potential for kind of the best player in the world taking on the most loved player in New York and seeing which is stronger. That could be a fascinating dynamic.
Yeah, that will be a great watch. I think that was the case with a lot of Tiafoe's matches in New York. Shelton, even the Popyrin match, the ones he played last year. I think this is now his third in a row quarterfinals or better. He really loves playing here, so it will be good to see him in the final.
That drop shot from Draper actually worked this time. It's 30 all. Wales playing Turkey in the football?
Yeah, what happened with that match? I have no idea what. I'm just going to check it.
I'm assuming Jake is gloating. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's a 0-0 draw. I didn't miss much.
Is that Nations League?
I have no idea. There's so many, like, these type of matches.
+1 forehand. Sorry to interrupt, Gokal. He's overplayed on that +1 forehand massively, and it's break point for Sinner again. There's too much football. Some might say there's too much tennis, but there's much right. First serve into the net from Draper, trying to defend another break point. Don't forget he faced 3 in his previous service game. Draper goes out wide. Backhand from Sinner is it was a nice backhand from Sinner, but Draper coming into the net was actually a smart move because he's able to put that volley away right into the space, and wonderful trajectory on it. It's back to deuce.
Yeah. He finally got that point on the second serve and volley this time. Great angle on that serve. Just pushed Sinner off the court.
He definitely made use of some good angles on that last point.
Yeah.
Are we into another big rally here? I think so. Very central on their hitting. Draper's going to go inside out now. Goes cross inside in with that forehand. That was brutal advantage to Draper.
Yeah, Sinner going to the center, expecting either like a softball or an error, but Draper created his own angle off that. Amazing forehand.
We're probably wait for a change of ends, in which case I can kind of come into some of the questions. Oh, great return from Sinner there. Deuce.
Wow.
Like it was a blink and you'll miss it cross-court backhand.
Yeah, I did miss it. I was like, when was the point over?
It was so fast. Pass up into the net from Draper. Second serve. Forehand from Sinner. Mid-court. Inside out forehand from Draper. Back towards the Sinner forehand. Now he's going to change up the forehand, moving Sinner from side to side. Oh, Sinner went for the angle. Backhand pass. Just missed it. And it's advantage to Draper.
Yeah, very nice forehand inside in. No drop shots this time. I don't think he's going to do that anytime soon.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to, or at least he's going to have to know he's got to do him better.
Yeah, exactly.
The alternative.
Great attacking by Draper.
It's a great attack backhand from Draper right into the Sinner strike zone though, and Sinner forces the error with the forehand. Back to deuce. I mean, this is only game 3. How long's this set been going?
This is crazy. Yeah, 28 minutes this set.
28-minute set, and we're only in game 3. Yeah, this is not a bad match, even if it turned out to be straight sets, as Draper gets unreturnable.
Yeah, totally not what I was expecting. All respect to Draper. I was expecting a lot of nerves, even after that, first set, in which he had a lot of, opportunities. He lost that. I thought he was going to go away. He didn't. It's a great showing for a first Grand Slam.
You're covered about the drop shot. It worked. He went for a serve volley drop shot combo, and it worked.
Very
he
nice.
2-1.
I mean, I was specifically talking about a drop shot for a sitter,
Okay.
Yeah, but this is also very good.
Nerlan, do I feel like Sinner would have embarrassed Carlos if they faced each other? I think there was the potential for that, given where Carlos's head was at. If Carlos had somehow made it through the draw, it's difficult to tell because, maybe Carlos would have played himself into form. So it depends. If you assume it's the Carlos whose head was in the shed in that second round match, then yes. If it's a Carlos who's played himself into form, maybe by playing Draper, and maybe having that scare with Botic, then no, I think we would have seen split sets again. Still think Sinner comes through it, but I don't think it would have been straightforward. Hope you're satisfied with that answer. I mean, Go.A.T, do you want to come on
that? With Sinner Alcaraz?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could totally picture an easy win for Sinner in that one, just because Alcaraz played too much recently. And I think he was successful at the French Open and in Wimbledon because he hadn't played that much leading up to those events. He had pretty empty 2-3 months, just played one clay tournament and that was it, I think. But now, with French Open, Wimbledon, and Olympics, it was a crazy. Just because of that, I think I could see it coming, but not in their overall head-to-head. It doesn't make sense that one of them just runs away with the match because they know each other so well and they play at such a high level. They have so little holes in their game, so I don't think that would happen normally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd agree with that assessment. But looking at Sinner's level now, it's about to serve at 1-2. Can we avoid a long game? It's defending at the net. Oh, he wasn't expecting that Draper shot to go over, but he still puts away the backhand. 15 love.
And neither was Draper, I think. He wasn't expecting it.
I mean, Sinner's level was up and down against Medvedev. It's definitely not his best tennis here.
Against Tommy Paul, too.
Tommy Paul, yeah. I mean, do you think that's a situation, let's say Sinner comes through this, which we're still giving him the edge in doing? Great inside-out forehand winner to prove our point. They love. Do we think that Fritz or Tiafoe could exploit that? Let's talk about do they have the confidence, the ability to exploit that?
Yeah, it's going to be their first Grand Slam final, so they will have that pressure on. And the pressure of having to play their best tennis from start to finish. I don't think it's that easy, but with extra stuff like the crowd, why not? If it goes to a tiebreak, why not take it? But Tommy Paul couldn't, 2 tiebreaks in a row. So it's a big ask because Sinner's been there, has played a few semifinals, has won Australian Open this year. But he's, like you're saying, he hasn't played his top tennis this tournament. It's not like Australian Open.
That being said, we've just seen Sinner absolutely boss this service game in the level coming back for that game. Brazy points out it took Sinner 97 seconds to host there.
Yeah, that's good. That takes the game duration average to 8 minutes, maybe. The set. I
mean, we needed a short game there. Let's be honest. just so you know, got after this next game, I will probably just need to disappear for 10 seconds just to refill some water. But I will come back. But after this game. And also, please tell me if Vance arrives, because I can't. Where I'm resting my tablet, I can't actually see if he's in the studio.
I can't either.
Bit of in-house. Oh, you can't. Okay. Well, he's not, so we're not both missing him, so it's good.
Okay.
I thought you could, but clearly not.
No. Ghosty, I just saw your comment about if someone bagels an opponent, do we call simit, which is the Turkish bagel. We don't, but I have a good tweet for the Turkish tennis Twitter community with Świątek selling simit. Yeah, that's our bakery adaptation.
Oh, that's a good word. Might have to borrow that. Sounds like you'd be good to have a conversation with Murta Tunga if he ever comes back on the show.
Yeah, close friend.
Do you actually know him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I know him for about 10 years.
Oh, cool. Got the entire Turkish tennis community on Talking Tennis.
Yeah, you got 2 of 10 of us. No, we're not that little, but we're much smaller than the overall tennis community on Twitter.
We definitely need. Come on, I'd love to see more success from Zeynep Somnaz, just to give us more to talk about. And she's the best hope for Turkey right now, men or women.
That's right, and she's a friend of the show, so
she is.
Score on both fronts.
30-15 for Jack Draper. He's hoping to have an easier service game, given his last 3 have not been. He's been broken or barely held serve. But he's just given Sinner a short ball and kind of bails out of it. Oh no, that's why Sinner made a mistake. So it's 40-15 Draper. Yeah, I think we kind of come off the back of something there, and I think I've lost track of maybe some more constructive tennis-related conversations. But never mind, we've got a rally here at game point, which Draper's going to get up the line with the forehand. Sinner backhand just clips the net, comes over, and that neutralizes it back in his favor. Oh, and then he's gone long. Draper's gone long for 40-30. Brazy has high hopes for Ipek Soylu.
He had. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sorry,
so did we. Yeah, she retired 2 years ago. I think we were talking about this in the last stream. But she won US Open Juniors with Jill Teichmann 10 years ago. So she was the first junior slam champion. We had high hopes. Brilliant technique, I think. But yeah, injuries and everything.
Draper's got an issue with the balls. So he's handing it to the umpire. 40-30. Kind of coming up there. So yeah, chat. If Draper holds, got up some questions so that he can answer them whilst I go and get a drink of water. Unreturnable. Oh, I thought it was unreturnable from Jacob, but it's not. It's second serve. He's just still missing this. Serve out wide from Draper's a miss.
I was going for the serve and volley there, which makes sense.
And double faults.
Ooh.
Another juice game got called.
Yeah, and yeah, like Zach was saying, it wasn't like because it was a Bublik type of second serve. It wasn't like huge. It was a soft one. So you can't have both. Like at least go for the big second serve if you're gonna double fault, right? That's his 3rd of the set.
So Brazy, I think you're counting from the set. It's way more than that if you look at the match. And he's double faulted again.
Wow.
And
Okay,
he's,
I think this was the third of the set.
yeah, he's changing rackets, I think. Yeah, he's changing rackets. Okay. Advantage Sinner. Break point. Can he finally break Draper thing here? First serve delivery is long. Draper's frustrated. Second serve. Backhand. Wide from Sinner on the return. Went for too much.
That was a short second serve.
Yeah. What do you think about? I'm seeing that Dave and Brazy have picked up that Draper's not jumping for his toss. Is that something that you've picked up on?
I haven't, to be honest, but I think the speed has gone down way too much for the second serve, definitely. That might be the reason, what they're saying.
It was a short forehand up the line from Draper, but it doesn't matter because Sinner's dragged his forehand wide as an advantage for Draper. How is he not a triple breakdown? How is this not 6-love Sinner?
Look at this average service game durations. 5 minutes for Draper. 3.5 minutes for Sinner.
Sinner's not quite... Yeah, I mean, look, Sinner's only played 2 service games. One was really long, one was not. Here we go. And it's unreturnable from Draper, who once again saves break point and holds. Wow.
Yeah. Another barely hold.
Barely held indeed. Right. Well, Goppo, like, I'll leave it up to you. You can monologue for a bit on your thoughts on that game, or there's probably some stuff in the chat to talk about, but I'll literally be like 10 seconds. Well,
sure, no worries. Yeah, I cannot reflect the comments, but I saw that Brazy wrote Sinner lets him off the hook with poor returns, with which I completely agree. There were some second serves in that game, which a normal Sinner would have punished. I think he was being too tentative on those returns. Let's see what the stats look like. Horrible first serve and stats for both of them. Just above 40% for both. And 60% first serves won for Draper, which is very low. I think his tournament average was 81%. Yeah, it's been 40 minutes in the set, and it's 3-2. It's like watching G. Simon. You know, feels like it a bit. Sinner's coming back to serve now. Let's see if he decreases his service game duration average.
I mean, it's all you have to do is just not get taken to even like a 2-minute game would decrease it.
Yeah, Draper must be sweating heavily because Sinner's getting the court dried now, that side of the court.
Yeah, I mean, not surprised. Look, we're talking about, I mean, like, do we think Draper's struggling physically or not?
Yeah, I'm just going to pay attention to that if we can see any signs. The chat was talking about like his service motion, that he's not jumping as good as he used to in the first set. But let's see if there's anything like side to side running, going to short balls and, you know, coming forward.
Second serve from Sinner to start this game, and Draper kind of bailed out that return a little bit. I mean, I don't know whether he was caught out by how short it was, but that he kind of chopped the return, and now he's drying the court off. Yeah, that was not like that was an interesting return choice from Jack Draper there.
He completely misread probably where the serve was going to go.
Sinner's this level, this game is definitely not as high as it was when he served out that other game to Love, but let's see if that matters here. Draper's gone long with the forehand 30 Love once again.
What a set this is. They're just missing second serve returns, both of them. Sinner first serve in percentage 35% right now this set.
I mean, that's not ideal for Jannik at all. I mean, it's interesting that he's kind of. It feels like Jannik's getting by on sort of B or C level at the minute.
Yeah.
Launches that cross-court backhand there, and that yields the error up the line from Draper for Love.
Yeah, there's something going on. It's either a loss of concentration from Draper or something physical. He's talking about. Is he talking about how wet the court is?
Is it raining? Can't be.
I mean, they have a roof, so that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, just in a hold with an ace to Love. Draper's running back without a racket, and he's sitting down. Oh, I think he's changing his shoes. He's decided he's not happy with his shoes. Maybe that's what he was doing. He's telling the umpire that between games he wants to change shoes. He's left his racket on the ground.
Yeah, it's like he left his towel on the beach bed. It's like why? He just left his racket on his side of the court. Like, I'm gonna come back. Don't worry.
Don't take my side of the court.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what a moment. So it's a Draper still doing his shoes up. I mean, here's a question I thought of. Say Sinner plays Fritz in the final. Say that's the final we get. In some ways, Draper wouldn't be that bad a preparation for that match. He'd have to switch from lefty to righty, but
yeah,
not too dissimilar in terms of how they play.
Yeah, I mean, I think Fritz is much more like tolerant in long rallies. Like, he can stay resilient, and his backhand is very different. He has a very short swing. He can create short angles, go down the line. I think the backhand side would feel a lot different, and Draper's ball can be very like spinny, loopy. Oh no, he dropped the ball.
Oh, it's a ball out of pocket situation. That's let.
When does that happen at a Grand Slam?
I'm sure it happened to Andy Murray once at Wimbledon.
And the last I remember was Hugo Gaston, but that ended badly.
Yeah. So if he loses another ball, he loses a point, I think.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you get a let on the first one, and then the second one. You lose a point.
Yeah.
For there's still another long rally here to open this game now. Forehand Sinner. Backhand from Draper to the forehand of Sinner. Forehand inside out from Draper long. Love 15. There's that rally punch you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. If it's physical or mental, like his forehand is off now, and he's not missing it by very little margins. It's 12 errors in this set from Draper.
Love 15. First serve is wide. Is wide. Too wide. And this is massively risky second serve, but it works. Since now going on the line with a forehand. Draper goes cross court, but they're not going for angles too much. Draper gives him a short ball. I think it's just running at the minute. Instead of nets on the stretch. 15-all.
Nice backhand from Draper. So maybe the serve would be good preparation for Fritz. But then I think being a lefty it takes a lot of like similarities away, I would say. What do you think?
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I feel like you only need to change the strategy up a little bit, maybe. But I think if it was me, I was playing a big server who was lefty, then a big server who was a righty.
Yeah.
I'd still be thinking about, I'd be doing similar return positions. I think it just depends on how good the other guy's backhand was.
Yeah. Beautiful drop shot by Draper, by the way. Much better on his backhand than the ones on his forehand in that first set.
That is for sure. That is definitely for sure.
Yeah, the ball just died. Beautiful backspin.
It does feel like Draper's taking the pace off a little bit, but it's working for now. As I said, it's just really hitting through that. That's a dumped slice in the net, 30-all. It was a bailout shot.
After all the compliments to his backhand drop shot. He missed the next one. 30-all.
Yeah, it looks like Draper's trying to find solutions that doesn't involve hitting the cover off the ball.
Yeah, and he definitely, I think, he has it in his head to not extend the rallies. Just if it's going too long, just, do something, take an initiative of some sort.
Pass that wide from Draper is missed the court. Second serve from Draper. Oh, Draper's got a drop shot. Sit. Oh, the pass has just been missed.
Nice.
40-30.
Yeah, he completely is turning around that serve and volley ratio for himself. Yeah, it's brave tennis. Is rewarded again.
Brazy putting in the chat, Sinner keeps letting Draper off the hook with these errors. I find it hard to disagree with that. I think if Sinner wasn't making errors, he'd be at least a double breakup. Or at least a breakup, I should say. It could be two, but definitely a break. And probably wouldn't have got broken back either in that first set.
Yeah, Draper also made a lot of errors, but I guess Sinner's world number one. We expected him to make less, so I agree with that.
Oh, there's another one there. Backhand into the net.
Yeah, this one was horrible. What an error. He was there.
I guess it depends, right? Because Draper's errors look different. Because Draper's errors obviously they are costing him points, but they feel like a bit more flutter. Whereas, you're not entirely sure whether he would lose the point anyway. With these Sinner errors, I'm pretty sure for most of them, if he hadn't made the error, he'd have gone on to win the point. And I think that's the difference in my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas with Draper, there's no guarantee he'd have won the point if he didn't make the error.
Yeah, in this game, definitely. In maybe a few games before, he missed very makeable second serve returns, but they both did. But the standard is much higher for Sinner, so I think that sticks out more. Then we start thinking about why is he missing so much? Because Draper is playing a more aggressive brand of tennis. He's coming to the net after his second serves. He's going for drop shots. I think he hit 6 this match so far. I think Sinner didn't hit any. So it makes sense that he makes more errors. So yeah.
I don't know why that they think their target audience is just a side comment here on like the channel I'm watching. They decided to show a commercial for Warhammer 40k. And I'm like, I mean, I am in the overlapping demographic of tennis and tabletop strategy games, but I wasn't expecting that demographic to be that big. They put it on. So there you go.
Yeah. I had Turkish Airlines, so completely. I think I'm not in the target group because they're going for the international clients.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Our Ghost's question: are double faults included in the unforced error tally? I think
Yes.
they usually are.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to subtract double faults each time I try to get an idea of baseline winners, unforced errors. Aces are also included in winners.
Draper's drying the court again. Also, it's love 15, which is interesting. Jake, I could crack open a beer as well, to be honest, but that involves me leaving Go Cup alone again. I'm not saying you can't cope, I'm just...
An ace.
Or a way to steady the ship. Yeah. Apologies, I think the RNG levels are matching Jack Draper's at the minute. Vanch is on his way to give us some fresh blood.
Yeah, I'm trying to mute myself and get a bit of the sound every now and then because Draper's talking to the umpire a lot these minutes, but I don't know what's happening. Does he want like a full sweep of the court or something?
Tell you what, I'll let you continue to mute, and if I see him talking, I won't go to you. But it's Draper. Oh, great high ball that Sinner can't control the net. It's 30 all.
Nice pass.
So Draper's 2 points away from breaking Sinner's serve. This is a weird set. Like, it feels like Draper is hanging on to Sinner's coattails by the skin of his teeth. First serve from Sinner. Draper's backhand just dragged wide. 40-30.
Sinner's doing much better with first serves these two last service games.
He's definitely steadying the ship a bit. Like, after that opener, it could have got very interesting. But let's see if he can close this game out.
Yeah, because if he can't, Draper will serve for the set.
Yeah, forehand from Sinner to the forehand of Draper up the line. Sinner's on the defense, sliding to and from. Draper's moving him from side to side. Draper, again, go for the inside in. He's going to go into the net for that. Oh, it's a lovely drop shot from Jack Draper, who's listening. He wants the crowd.
Yeah, he wants the reaction. Amazing drop volley.
I think Draper knows this might be a moment for him.
Yeah, he just bossed Sinner around with his forehand for 4 or 5 shots, and then he said, yeah, I'm going to the net now. Amazing decision.
And then drops him.
Yeah.
All right, Juice. Another Sinner service game gone to Juice. It's the first time since Sinner's opener as well, which would have been One Love Draper. So he's had a couple of easier holds, but it's either been love hold or Juice with Sinner, no in between. Second serve from Sinner coming up. Backhand from Draper cross court, long. He's got his hands on his face. He's just frustrated he missed that.
Yeah. He went back on that return to take a big swing.
Yeah, just chopped it. Advantage Sinner. Is he going to snatch away Draper's opportunity to steal the set? Backhand from Draper off the first serve is actually good, and the forehand from Sinner's shanked, overplayed, back to Juice.
That was a Tsitsipas shank. That was I haven't seen Sinner shank in quite a while.
That was a definite rushed shot from Sinner.
Yeah. Completely mistimed the ball. What a set this is.
Yeah, we're 2 hours, almost 2 hours here. Sinner's going to come in. Jack's attempt at a pass is wide.
Now he's coming in. Good for him, because he needs to change stuff up as well.
We're talking about Draper sweating. Sinner's looking sweaty.
I mean, do you remember that Federer Millman match? Federer was sweating.
Which
This is New York.
This is the one that New York they went 5.
And I
No.
think he lost in 4 sets, I think.
Yeah, I can never
28.
remember which way round that was because he played with the Australian not long after that, and that ended up being
Yeah.
number 1.
Yeah, no, this is the one he lost in 4 sets.
2018?
I think 2018 because 19 he lost to Dimitrov.
Yeah, same thought process here. Draper gives Sinner the short ball, which he puts into the net. Juice. After Sinner bossed that rally, Draper looked like he was going to get back into it, but then
Everyone's looking down on the court. I think Sinner also thinks it's wet or something, or they're just trying to find excuses for their horrible misses.
But yeah, I think that Millman match that you're talking about, I don't think I watched it. I don't think I had the right TV subscription at the time.
I think that was the first time I saw Federer's hair wet.
Interesting. Looks like Draper's being sick, according to Ghosty. I don't know if he's ahead of us or not. There's a conversation happening with the umpire. Gokop, can you listen to it? We'll stay quiet so we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, the umpire is saying Draper vomited on the court. And we wait for now, she said, but they're continuing to play.
So they're trying to deal with it. Okay. Yeah, I think it looked like Draper's been sick twice. And like, it must be struggling to cope with the humidity, as well they both are, but Draper's coping with it less. Inside in, forehand from Sinner on the winner on the up line. Great shot. Draper saying he doesn't need a medical timeout. Yeah, Gokop was just listening to what's going on. He'll update us.
Yeah, nothing before that advantage center point.
On return serve, Sinner gets out the game.
For
I don't think Draper had a break point, did he?
Not this game, I think.
No, so it's 4-all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, not this game. But it was Sinner's 4th game point, finally, when he converted.
I'm not sure what, looking at the discussion in the chat, I'm not sure what I would do if I wanted to be sick while playing tennis. Like, I would be trying to. Great backhand winner from Draper there. 15 love. Yeah, I think if my stomach's not right, I'm not sure what shots would be easier on it. In fact, I don't even know. I'd probably retire, to be honest. I am a wimp. I am not a real man. Echoes of 2023 Acapulco semis.
I mean, you would call for the trainer as soon as possible, right? Just to get some kind of medicine. Not to get a break or something, but to get that stomach right or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, if he's being ill that much, as Sinner's got a let cord, but Draper anticipates really well. Sinner's got to cut him off at the net, but it's too deep. Draper overplays the forehand. 50-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what are these misses?
And that's the thing. I don't know if Draper is going to be like, if Draper's reacting like this, he's either really ill or the conditions are really affecting him. And It could be either, because I can see that Sinner's struggling as well a little bit.
Yeah, it's
But not as much as Draper. Oh, lovely drop shot, really curving away from Sinner there. 30-15. Drop volley, I should say. Sorry, good goal. Go on.
yeah. I mean, this has been a crazy set. It's been more than an hour. He had 6 service games in that first set. 42 points on Draper's serve, and this second set is already more than that. 46 points on serve. So it's been a lot of effort. It's like I remember that Alcaraz Djokovic first set last year at the Roland Garros semifinal. It took so much out of Alcaraz, and then he started cramping. Sometimes it's just the intensity of the play as well. It's not that it's very high quality, unfortunately, but it's just so many times games have gone to deuce this set. Plus, probably, of course, the humidity, because Sinner also is sweating.
Serve volley winner from Draper and serve drop volley from Draper, which Sinner runs down. Draper going to run up. Sinner somehow gets it, falls backwards, rolls.
Oh
Draper's got an overhead. Sinner's still ready for the point. Sinner's there to get the overhead and passes Draper.
What? Oh my God.
Sinner's clutching his left wrist. Sinner's clutching his left wrist. And he's not looking good either.
He was shaking his wrist mid-point.
I thought Sinner passed Draper. He didn't, because they've just given the point to Draper, 40-30. Yeah, Sinner's not looking good here. I think hopefully he's fine, and it's just an initial shock of jarring the wrist. Because, of course,
it's
the left
crazy.
wrist is going to really impact the backhand, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You look at that. I mean, he was there for the point. Just, trip backwards. Yeah, he falls on his wrist. Gets up and plays the point. Great first set from Draper out wide. Holds for 5-4. How on earth are we in this position that Sinner's now 70% in the match at 4-5? Sinner's kind of dragging himself back to the chair. There's people on court now.
Yeah, trainer is out, but for whom?
Sinner.
For both of them.
Both? Sinner's getting looked at. He's getting the wrist looked at.
Yeah. I think this trainer was supposed to go to Draper, and then they call a second one.
They're both being looked at. There's
Yeah.
a guy in a pink hat looking at Draper, and there's a guy with no hat looking at Sinner. So both guys are not looking good right now. I've never seen this before.
Yeah, two trainers, 2 sets of whatever physios at the same time. Yeah, that was a crazy game.
What on earth is happening right now? Vanch, where are you? You're missing out.
Players are getting sick here. They're falling on their wrists.
High drama in New York on Arthur Ashe Stadium.
I mean, that was a crazy forehand, by the way, to finish the point.
I thought he got it, but it was 40-15, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he
he
did
got
get
it.
What a point to win.
It looked like a nice, safe fall, which you can never tell from the screen, but at least it looked like...
I think because he did land on his wrist and catch himself.
Yeah.
I did think on the replay, like from the distance, it didn't look too bad. On the replay, I could see why it hurt him. Draper's on a magical timeout, so I'm taking Jannik's taking advantage of that too.
Yeah, Draper got all the ice packs everywhere.
Is this going to be a battle of? Is this going to be down to who retires first?
Yeah, outrun your other opponent.
Because of the 2 options, right? Sinner, if this is depending on how badly the wrist is hurt, he that could affect his final. if Draper is struggling with conditions, he can do some training between matches if he wins this. If he or if it's a stomach bug or some kind of stomach issue, there's a chance they'll be over in 2 days.
Yeah.
The wrist thing could be more terminal for Sinner, so this might incentivize Draper to keep going.
Yeah, and the other guy's much more hungry, the Americans. Because
I mean, look, let's face it, if Draper's got a stomach problem, he's definitely not going to be as hungry as his opponent. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Muchova got over hers. I hope that she did, because that was a brilliant first set against Pegula in 1 day. So I would take the stomach bug over a wrist injury every day.
Absolutely. Says being had his wrist sprayed down by the physio. Probably doesn't contain whatever substance was sprayed earlier this year. But anyway.
No gloves in sight.
I mean, at least it's not his physio. It is the tour physio, so I do trust them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, just saw Brazy's comment that I would just switch to a one-handed topspin backhand. Immediately, when I saw the left wrist, I remembered Del Potro when he played slices on his backhand, like 80-90% of the time when he had a left wrist problem.
I remember that. Right, back out on court. Sinner's sort of flexing the wrist. He's serving. Darren Cahill standing up. One-handed backhand. I mean, like, look, he can do it. We know he can do it, but is it the most effective way of hitting a backhand? How reliable is his one-handed backhand? That's the question. Can he get... Let's see what he's like on the service game. Great first delivery. Draper's return is out. 15 love.
Yeah, Draper tried to return that to Sinner's backhand in that first point.
Brazy, I'm just going to say, I was going to say that word, and then I realized I didn't actually know how to pronounce it, so decided against it.
An ace.
Ace.
Yeah.
Snap.
2 points. The left wrist has not gone into work yet.
No, I mean, how much do you use the wrist in the ball toss? Because I don't use wrist in my ball toss. I tend to keep it fairly static.
Yeah, not so much.
I don't know which is more advisable, to be honest, but they're into a rally now. There's been some backhands from Sinner. Now the forehand into the net. So it's the forehand lifting him down. The backhand is fine.
Yeah, he hit 2 backhands. Not attacking, safe, but he hit them in. So,
Schwarner, you've never played me, but I can confirm that my serve does suck. Oh, good, Dave. I'm glad I shouldn't use wrist in my toss because I don't. So it's got a forehand cross court, backhand Draper into the net, 40-15.
yeah, I feel like Sinner is going to up his forehand speed just to avoid having to receive any balls into his backhand side.
Sorry, were you talking about whose backhand, sorry?
Just so he doesn't have to hit backhand, Sinner. I think he'll hit faster forehands. He'll attack Draper more.
Which
also
seems
coming into the net.
That just seemed to be happening, to be fair. And now it's game Sinner. 5-all.
5-all.
How much of a challenge is this service game going to be for Draper? Most of his service games have been this set. How on earth is this set 5 games all? Because if I was Sinner, I'd be thinking I should have put this set, it should be up in this set. And I know you shouldn't think like that, but
yeah, they played 3 sets in one. It feels like.
Yeah. Do you have a time cut off, G.O.A.T? Because I know you said you could do the first 2 sets, but this set's probably taken longer than you expected.
It's fine. I'll finish the set.
Okay. Cool.
I can't let this go now. I've come this far.
I mean, you might as well do set 3 at this rate. Backhand from Draper up the line. Sinner goes cross court on the backhand. He's hitting it deep, inside out, forehand now. Draper goes up the line with a forehand. What a winner from Draper.
Sinner shaking his wrist. He ran around that backhand to avoid hitting it, but left the court completely open. Beautiful down the line for it.
I mean, yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, he was using the backhand. It was going deep. It wasn't as penetrating. I think, to be honest, the point was only lost. He only lost the point because of an amazing forehand by Draper, who's just served an ace.
Yeah.
G.O.A.T, can you confirm that your outfit is inspired by Roger Federer to AO 2018?
2016, just before his knee injury. I think 18 was a different color of like a similar design.
Sinner's gone along with the backhand. It's 40 love. This might be Draper's easiest service hold of the set. I think I've told the story before. I'm seeing comments about my serving in the chat. Yeah, I do have a story about that, but let's see what Draper's serve looks like. Inside out forehand winner from Sinner, 40-15.
Beautiful.
Kind of gave him that, really.
Yeah, a few forehand serves into Sinner's forehand, and then Sinner was just expecting it. It's not a surprise anymore. And that was a fast second serve too. Nice return from Sinner.
How many beers are you on, Jake? You were finding everything hilarious and then being savage about Sinner. Because like he might still win the set, just harder than he expected. Forehand cross court from Sinner. Draper, just overplays the backhand, 40-30. But it was really tough with that angle from Sinner.
I mean, Sinner's shaking his wrist and all that, but his backhands are looking good.
I think it is like he can play through it. He can still hit it. It just hurts probably.
Yeah.
He needs some painkillers and they'll be fine.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have that clarity anymore. You know, he might be thinking, do I hit it hard? Am I going to make it worse?
Right, can Draper close this out? Because I'm calling it maybe he's going to finally hold to love, but he's now back to 30 here. Still tough, finding it tough holding serve. Great front up the line. Sinner's going to attack it. Backhand short from Draper, slice from Sinner. Backhand cross court from Draper. Forehand Sinner cross court to the Draper. Backhand who goes for the cross court. Sinner's going to scoop up the forehand long. Draper holds for 6-5. Sinner's going to serve for the same set again. Yeah, just to tell the story, because like, no, we don't, Dave, we don't call weak second serves powder puff second serves. I think we just say, I don't think if there is a common terminology of it. I know that my second serve is bad. It has got improved, but I do remember when I was a teenager, my coach called it a pansy serve. And this kind of goes into Ghosty's other question about sort of the moonball serve, which you joke I haven't hit, but other people have that I've played. But I do remember once again as a junior, would have been 16, 17, still fairly weak on the serve, and I hit an ace on the second serve that dribbled over the net and barely bounced in the double match. It was one of the few points I actually won on merit. It was really embarrassing. Like, I did not feel proud of that moment at all. The other guys, it's still nice. The other guys kind of saw the funny side, but yeah, I mean, now I kind of look back and I'm going, yeah, that was kind of funny. But at the time, I was like, I just want to keep up with these guys.
Yeah, my serve isn't great, so I'll take an ace, any type of ace.
So you're a pusher without a serve. Are you Sarah Rami?
Yeah, yeah, my net skills are not as good as hers, so that's why I was going more Wozniacki at my expense.
How? I mean, like we rip into Wozniacki a lot. I mean, does it surprise anyone that she won? Is it like a surprise for people that she won a Grand Slam?
I mean, Halep was like in the hospital after the final, right? So, and she played that incredible semifinal against Kerber, and they didn't close the roof. That was the drama, which I mean, for right reasons, in that heat.
Because Wozniacki very early in her career was world number 1 for 2 years.
Yeah, but without a Grand Slam at that time.
At the time, and then she made up for it later.
Yeah, it was a bit like Serena's, Safina comment. She won Madrid and Rome, right? It was like she was winning a lot of Masters matches and coming up short at the majors.
But she eventually got it right in 2018, and I think there was obviously something like I think her at the time the WTA, her game worked. She was able to outlast a lot of people,
and she was very consistent at a very young age. Like from 18, 19, 20, 21, she was winning maybe like 60, 70, 80 matches this season. That's crazy.
Yeah, she was super consistent very early on. I think she got overtaken, obviously, but maybe like a less extreme version of Hingis, what happened to Hingis in her career. As Draper nets for make it 30 love to Sinner in this service game. We might be going for a tiebreak, people. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I remember my mum and dad were supporting Wozniacki, so they were very happy she got that slam. Their main reason for supporting her was they felt that she'd been treated badly by Rory McIlroy. Personally, I think everything kind of worked out for her in the end. Umpire's coming off the chair. What's going on here?
I think he got sick again on court.
There's probably just like a puddle in the corner that someone's going to have to deal with.
I've never seen this before.
Not this many times in a match, no.
Yeah.
Sinner's just netted a forehand 30-15. Going for too much. I mean, would it be really dumb to make yourself deliberately sick to then disrupt your opponent? Like deliberately ill, but like deliberately throw up.
Yeah. I'm sure worse things happened before, so.
Unreturnable serve from Sinner.
Great serve.
I mean, there's a story. I don't know if you know the story. Back in the 30s, I think, when you had Fred Perry, like the brief period in the mid-30s when Fred Perry was like the main force in tennis on the amateur side circuit anyway. This was before Don Budge broke through after Ellsworth Vines turned pro. Wonderful forehand winner from Jannik Sinner. We're going to a tiebreak, my friend. Here we go again. But yeah, he was one of his rivals was a German player called Gottfried von Kram, who was a German gentleman. And Fred Perry realized that he was put off by when things weren't neat and tidy. Okay. So he deliberately played with the inside of his pocket turned out to distract him. And it worked.
Yeah.
It was the ultimate gamesmanship, really.
And it's not that sinister. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah, but he didn't respond to it like Nadal did when someone knocked over his water bottles. Like, what are you doing? That doesn't bother me. Right, tiebreak. Sinner goes on the attack with a backhand. That's a brutal backhand for a man with a left wrist problem. And follows up with a brutal forehand winner, and it's already 1-0 with the mini break. I do get the sense that if Sinner stabilizes here, he should win this tiebreak. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard to guess where Draper's head is at, because if is he thinking about his, stomach and what's going on with him? Like, it's probably not easy for him to focus on the match right now.
And is he thinking about the wrist as well for his opponent?
Oh yeah.
Somehow Draper gets a return in court and still retrieving everything. Sinner's ripping at him, but cannot get through the ripped forehand into the open court from Sinner.
Yeah, Sinner's just entered the zone at the right this time. Like, serve to stay in the set, and brilliant 2 points to start the tiebreak. This forehand is just, he's clocking it.
Yeah, you see what you were right when you said before earlier that Sinner might just be absolutely going for the forehand now, and he is. Draper's return hits the net, 3-0. Yeah. Yeah, Ghosty, I agree. Tracy Austin's story is fascinating. I think if I was to ever write something about the best women's players of all time, I'd probably include her on it. I don't know if she'd make top 10, but she's in the conversation. Forehand inside from Draper. Cross-court to the inside off Sinner, who's just bludgeoning it at the minute. Now it goes for the backhand cross-court. Draper's still making it cross-court forehand, but that's going over the baseline, and it's 4-0.
Yeah, that was a soft backhand Sinner hit. Draper's just trying to find that corner, but it's not that easy when the forehands are coming like that fast.
Yeah, it's just more. I don't know why he was going, because he knew Sinner was. If Sinner's really ripping through the forehand, you need to get him on the move, on the stretch, to try and reduce that. Ah, great volley from Jack to finish
Brilliant
that point, 4-1.
And that service looked tired. Now I get the chat when they said, he wasn't jumping as, he didn't look explosive on that serve, but somehow brilliant instincts to finish off with that volley.
Do you think? I mean, maybe this is more of a question for after the tie. There's maybe more of a question for after the tiebreak, actually. So I'm going to save that. I know you're going to leave, but I might ask you this question afterwards.
Sure.
Sinner's got a second serve, 2 mini break advantage. Draper goes for the forehand return. Now he's unleashing on another inside out forehand. He's missed it. Unlike Sinner, who was finding the court, Draper's missed it. It's 5-1 Sinner.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't go to Sinner's backhand, because that was he was taking charge of that point with that last forehand. Does he continue playing? What's happening with him? I have no idea. After this tiebreak, we'll see.
That was the question I was going to ask. Was, do you think he plays the third set?
Yeah, this point didn't give me so much hope, but
because that's a mammoth task to come back from 2 sets to love down when you're not feeling well.
Yeah, but yes, after a set, you take a bathroom break. Things can change. Yeah, but yeah, coming back from 2 sets to 0 down after 2 hours already. No, not 2 hours. More than that.
Short serve from Sinner. Draper's trying to hit the ball deep. Now we're getting the forehand cross court on the stretch. Backhand Sinner cross court. Forehand Draper wide. Overhit 6-1 Sinner. 5 set points. First couple on Draper's serve. That backhand from Sinner looked pretty solid to me.
Yeah, it wasn't fast, but he found an angle with that backhand that put pressure on Draper.
First serve from Draper. Great first serve. Sinner cannot he gets a racket on it, but no hope of getting it back in court. 6-2.
Yeah, he doesn't look very energetic right now. I don't know if it's the score or his body.
They're both.
Yeah, maybe both.
Like, what's the point of putting the effort in at this point? Great first serve from Draper, comes in behind it, doesn't need to worry about it. Sinners returns over the baseline, 6-3.
What a serve. It looked like he didn't even jump on both feet, and he produced that 114 miles, like out wide.
How crazy is it he serves like that without even trying?
Yeah.
This is like Kyrgios levels. Draper looks out of it. First serve from Sinner is too good. 7-3. Set closed out. Sinner has a 2 sets to love lead and feels somewhat unassailable. Draper just sort of looks very out of it, really, as he goes back to his chair. And he is taking a break. He's getting his stuff together.
That makes sense. The best he can do, I guess, right now.
All right. Yeah. Go, Carl. I know you've got to go. So I'll just ask you, thoughts on, do I think Draper, you're saying the right thing, that Draper is taking a break. We think maybe that's going to be the best for him to be able to continue this match.
Yeah.
Do you hold up much hope of winning a third set, this third set?
Yeah, I mean, probably if he's in the positive mood, he's thinking, let me give it a try. I'll take some break, some probably like medication, whatever, and then try to see if he can serve his own service games out. You never know, because Sinner, I mean, I don't know if it's possible with this mindset, but I would tell myself he also has problems with his left wrist right now. So just pump himself up. But
Sinner's getting his leg massaged, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. What a match. 2 hours, 24 minutes. Everything's falling apart.
How on earth is this a 2-set match?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm not pushing you away. So just tell me when you've got to leave. But
yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's this was what I was thinking about when we were talking about Draper, like the physicality, and I think this kind of problem was what Sinner was having in the last seasons. So even if he loses this match, probably he will want to look at Sinner's like career in the like past 2 seasons, because Sinner was cramping in matches. Draper is not even having that, maybe stomach cramps, and like not muscle cramps. So
Draper's 22 now, isn't he?
I think so. And he's been saying in his press conferences that he's managing his like all these physical issues much better than before. So this is another challenge, and he hasn't lost a set this tournament, which is crazy, despite the easy draw that he had. So he doesn't have any 5 sets in his legs so far. So it's not a night match. So there's a lot of things that he can think about. Will he will he be able to? Let's see.
Tell you what, this might give the Arthur Ashe organisers some bit of a headache, given that night session starts in 1 hour and 15 minutes, and we've still got to play a third set. Like, the night session's got to be delayed at this point.
Yeah, this match deserved the night session, and they're getting it by their own terms.
In their own way. I don't know. I understand why. I think Tiafoe Fritz was the better choice for night session. For like, if I'm from an American broadcast perspective, you go with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the fairness part.
They'll be the most competitive match as well, probably.
Yeah, they'll be the more fun match. Not that I'm saying this in hindsight after seeing these 2 hours, 24 minutes of kind of a slugfest sometimes, but they would have been anyway, because because of Tiafoe and because they're 2 Americans. But Sinner had less than 48 hours, I think, when the Americans have more than 72. That's the Grand Slam stuff. That can happen. Or no, I'm missing up the hours. Well, thanks for the comments on the chat. I have to leave because it's almost 1 a.m. here, my time.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't realize Turkey was that far behind.
Yeah, it was very nice talking to you, Nick. To everyone on the chat.
Yeah, always a pleasure having you on G.O.A.T, and go get some sleep and enjoy the tennis.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Yeah,
bye everyone.
But fortunately, as G.O.A.T exits, we can introduce Vanch Vermani.
How are you doing, Nick?
I'm all right. How are you?
All right. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that set?
I was going to ask you the same thing. That was a weird set because Sinner should have won it way easier than he did.
Yeah, that was kind of my feeling as well. But Jack did pretty well to hang around. He was struggling physically with the, feeling somewhat nauseous. He vomited on the court like in the 4-all game, and Sinner came up with that incredible shot.
3 times.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it's actually like that hot there right now. I can look it up, but I think it's like less than 30 degrees Celsius, but I guess it's the humidity combined with just the physicality of some of the rallies maybe.
Tell you what, 3 hours, 3 different co-hosts on this stream. This is nearly 3 hours, 3 different co-hosts. This is going to be an interesting one for me. I don't know what I'm doing to you all, but oh well. There was a question earlier, by the way, while we're waiting. Ghosty asked me about which team prodigy was more impressive. Was it Austin or Hingis? And that's an interesting question because Hingis had the higher ranking, and I think she racked up a lot of very early success very young. But I think she had only one great season, which was 97. And then the rest of the field caught up with her. And it was a bit more crazy. Whereas with Austin, I think she was only, apart from a couple of exceptions, she was only losing to Navratilova and Evert at 16, 17. So for me, I might actually go Austin out of the two. Of course, the greatest team prodigy was actually Selesh, or maybe even Connolly back in the 50s. But Selesh, probably the game had evolved in the 80s and 90s. I'm willing to go with Selesh on that one.
Yeah, I would say Selesh because she won I think 8 majors as a teenager, which is crazy. I don't think we'll ever see that again.
Do you know the story of Maureen Connolly?
I'm familiar with it, but I think you probably might know it better.
Yeah, it's only because I look it up a lot for things, and maybe I'll write about it one day. We're back in the third set, by the way. Sinner's 30 love up after a very quick rally. Again, very much in terms, a bit like the tiebreak played. Connolly, similar actually to Selesh, she won 9 majors by the time she turned 19, and in fact, she was having seasons where she was only losing 1 or 2 matches a year, and only to one particular player who occasionally. It was a bit like, imagine if Swiatek won everything and Sabalenka beat her once a year. It was a bit like that. And then she won Wimbledon. She was on an insane slam streak of, she hadn't lost in the Grand Slams. She was Wimbledon 54 she won. She hadn't lost at a Grand Slam since US Open 51. She'd skipped a few, obviously. Had a horse riding accident and didn't play tennis again.
Right. That was basically her career ended at 19 years of age with that accident, right?
Yeah. Whereas Selesh came back, won another major.
Yeah.
But wasn't the same. Whereas Connolly never came back at all.
Mm-hmm.
Different eras.
I know a little bit about her because she's actually she was born in San Diego.
Oh,
and
right.
we have a tournament here in the juniors named after her, where the best kids under 10s play that tournament. So
yeah, it was a whole different era, of course. But I do think the achievements shouldn't be discounted, and I think when you compare tennis, it's not about 1v1 who would be the better player in a 1v1 because the sport was played differently. You had different technology involved, different fitness. It's about the legend and the legacy you leave. I mean, also Ghosty makes a valid point about how difficult it was for black players on the tour at that point. But and Gibson is in the mix for one of the greatest women's players of all time as well. But I think I think when we assess GOATs, I think it's less about stats for me and more what kind of legend you write.
Right, because it's impossible to compare, a Monica or I mean a Maureen McConnelly to like an Iga Swiatek. Like it just wouldn't work.
I mean, even if you look at the men's game, I am not. I'm still. You'd have to really convince me that Rod Laver and Bjorn Borg are not up there with the big three still.
Yeah, because you don't know what would have happened if they played with the same technology, same equipment, and like vice versa. If Roger Rafa and Novak had to play with wooden rackets, like it's just, yeah.
I still think Nadal probably would have figured something out. For me, Rod and Bjorn for what they did in their times are comparable with what the big three did.
Yeah, I think if you did it by tiers, that would probably be better, and you can just put them on the same like kind of tier.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Because I'm currently mulling over writing a greatest women's players of all time piece for Popcorn, and I'm not. I don't think I would rank them. I wouldn't do a ranking of it. I would be these women are about the same kind of level.
Yeah.
I know people like to have an ultimate GOAT, but I don't think that's how the human race works.
Right. So you'd probably have like, I don't know, Serena and Martina and
Yes,
like on the same tier, and obviously Graf as well.
Monica.
Yeah, Graf, Navratilova, Serena, kind of all in the same group.
Yeah, I mean, I'd also throw in. I mean, it's probably spoilers for it, but like I'd say there's like a clear 10. Then can you make the argument for any more of them? The 10 women being Suzanne Longland, Helen Wills Moody, Maureen Connolly, Margaret Court, Billie Jean King, Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf, Monica Seles, Serena Williams. By the way, Sinner's got breakpoint, thumping forehand winner up the line. We've got a slice from drop shot from Draper. Sinner's going to chase it down. Draper goes for the pass, Sinner nets the attempt to catch it. Deuce, Draper a bit fortunate to win that point.
Yeah, and he's going to be looking to serve and volley as much as he can in this set to kind of keep the play that's been winning him some points at least. I mean, he did manage to hold here, so that's good.
Draper forces the error for advantage. Oh, are you ahead of me on this?
I'm at 1-1 right now.
Yeah, you're ahead of me.
Oh, that rarely ever happens.
Yeah, let me check.
Let me see if I can rewind it a bit.
Okay. Hold on. Have I lost? I may have lost it a bit. Let me just see if I can get this updated. Right. I'm at 1-1. Draper's hanging around at the baseline, waiting for Sinner to serve.
Oh, interesting. Sean says that he saw a tweet of mine on the Daily Mail website. Interesting.
Do you know much about the Daily Mail, Vanch?
I just know that there's one of the who's the main journalist on Twitter that
Oh yeah.
I'm blanking on his name.
Is it?
No, I think that might be the Times.
Yeah.
But there's one Daily Mail reporter who's like pretty active on Twitter.
Yeah, there is. His name escaped me as well. The Mail does not have the best reputation in the UK.
Yeah. They're a bit more clickbaity, right?
Yeah, that they are a right-wing tabloid.
Okay.
Which depends on your politics, really. Obviously, if you agree with them, then they still sell a lot. But depending on your political views, personally, regardless of my political views, I just don't think that stuff's very well written, apart from the sports stuff. Brazy, I'm not going to answer that question on a stream, but feel free to ask me on Twitter if you have me on Twitter. Just wanted to answer your question. Are we covering the Fritz Tiafoe match? Yes. Well, Vanch and I aren't, but we do have a stream for it on the channel. I believe Damien's doing that one. I can't remember with who. It's not you, is it?
No, I'm pretty sure Damien is doing it though. Do you have any thoughts on which American has the better chance to beat Sinner? I mean, we just saw Tiafoe and Sinner play in Cincinnati. Obviously, different occasion, and Francis is a different beast on the other stadium with the whole crowd and energy behind him. But you also have Fritz, who has a 6-1 head-to-head coming into that match, and he seems to really know the patterns of Francis pretty well, and doesn't seem as thrown off of them by as some other players. So I'm intrigued to see like what kind of wins out in the end. And because Fritz's run to the semis has been pretty impressive so far. You know, he's beaten Berrettini, he's beaten Ruud when it looked like Ruud was gonna go up 2-0. Like he came back and won that match quite comfortably, and then obviously the win over Zverev, which was pretty big for him in the quarters. So I think coming in, I had predicted that Fritz would win this, but there's a lot of other like kind of intangibles in here that you know, and the crowd energy that could actually help Francis, you know, get over the line if Taylor is feeling the nerves of his first semifinal, because Francis has also been in another semifinal 2 years ago here, where he pushed Alcaraz pretty hard. So yeah, I'm tempted to go with Fritz against Jannik. I'm interested to see how the ball striking kind of duel from the baseline kind of matches up, especially backhand to backhand. I feel like Fritz has done pretty well in this tournament. Like against Zverev, for instance, he was the more consistent player backhand to backhand, which was surprising at times. And they played a couple of times at Indian Wells, and they had some good matches, and Fritz actually won one of them. But this was before Sinner was the player that he is now. So I kind of just don't really give either player a really good chance at beating Sinner right now, because I just think Sinner's, you know, at a level where he's just the favorite to take the title.
Even a fired up Tiafoe against a below par Sinner.
Oh yeah, what did you say? Below par Sinner versus Francis?
Yeah, below par Sinner against Francis on his favorite court in the world.
Yeah, if he gets by Fritz, that would be kind of interesting. I'm still going with Fritz to get to the final, based on the head-to-head and just kind of based on what I've seen this tournament. But you know, Francis certainly has the ability.
Yeah, I would say, does Francis not have an extra gear when it comes to Arthur Ashe Stadium? Like, he just plays better on this court.
He does. Like, I've never seen anything like it right now. I mean, the only comparison I would have is like maybe Tsitsipas in Monte Carlo, but this is in another level where it's just like his game just elevates. Like, we've seen Francis the whole year. I mean, he was basically a 0.500 player before Wimbledon, and then things started to turn around for him. But he usually like just finds his very best level on this court with this crowd. Like, just, I mean, like 3 quarterfinals in a row. That's like the last player who did that on the men's side, at least amongst Americans, was Roddick from 06 to 08. So yeah, his game really elevates here.
Obviously, Roddick, the last player to make a US Open final, 2006.
Yeah. At the US Open, that is, right?
At the US
and
Open,
then
yeah, no, not a major final. That's Wimbledon 2009. They quizzed Feliciano Lopez on the TV for the match. Like, I think when it was like Fritz Zverev, it looked like Fritz was winning, and they quizzed Feliciano Lopez like, when was the last All-American semi-final in the men's? Oh, great drop shot from Draper for 30-15. And I assume you already know this off the top of your head.
Sorry,
Last
say that
one.
again. I was watching this point. Sorry, hang on a second. I think I just lost my stream, so I'm going to try to get.
We'll let Vanch get his stream back. It doesn't matter so much. Unreturnable serve from Draper to move to 40-15. On the Legends point, which I just wanted to see before, I do understand what everyone's talking about. I will say that part of Billie Jean King's legend makes her about being so outspoken, and what she kind of did for the women's game is what makes her a legend and one of the greatest of all time. In addition to what she did to the in addition to her achievements on the court. And in fact, actually, I think I originally wrote a long time ago that if I was going to pick an overall women's greatest player, it would be her, Long Lane, or Serena. And Ash, I would say, also has a legend, and I would be putting him in, again, a list of top 10, top 20 greatest male tennis players of all time, because whilst of his on-court attitude was calm, he used his voice well off the court.
Okay, cool. I'm back. Yeah.
We're back. We've got the stream back. Sinner has held. So we've got Draper holding for 2-all, and this is a complete contrast to the previous set, where the previous set we were almost an hour in after 4 games, or like 45 minutes in after four games of it, and this we're at 2 games all pretty quick.
Yeah. This is like much more fast tempo now compared to set 2.
At what point did you start watching the match?
I've been watching like from the beginning, like about 1-all or 2-all in the first. I saw the 2 games that they broke back each other in the first set.
That was bizarre. That was a bizarre drop in level from Sinner to concede that.
It was, yeah. And then obviously they had a tight game at 5-all, but Draper double faulted 3 times, which didn't help. Yeah, and then I saw pretty much the entire second set as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling this match is going to be 3 very different sets. Somehow. I mean, I don't know. Do you keep snatching this set?
It feels like Sinner's wrist is not really an issue anymore. It seemed to be bothering him for a couple of games, though.
Overhead winner from Sinner. Yeah, last point I'll make on the narrative thing with Ghosty is that like the King Riggs match actually doesn't figure too much in my assessment. I think it's a possibility that there was something off about it, but I choose to take things at face value because it makes me happier. And if I need to engage my cynical side to survive, I will. But I think for things that don't ultimately matter or affect me, then I can just enjoy to take things at face value. And I do the same thing with the modern game of tennis as well. Great winner from Sinner. That's something you can take at face value. 3-2. Yeah. So, I mean, at the minute, we said this before. Like I did say this. Like I remember when we were on the stream earlier, and like with Zach and Gokal, and Zach basically said, "Well, that's it. Sinner is going to run. Like I don't see Sinner getting broken back. Sinner's going to win the set, and then Sinner gets immediately broken back." So I don't want to say Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave saying Jack called for a Coke.
Interesting. Trying to perhaps help the stomach, like digestion a bit. I remember Sampras doing that in that very famous match.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
that uncommon, to be honest.
He used to drink Coke in the changeovers.
Different time. It was the 90s, man. Draper kind of pouring water on himself. Yeah. I mean, if Jack is struggling physically with some kind of illness, is that it's conditions or illness that's causing this problem? You can say that Sinner's not been as ruthless when he's having to try and convert break points. But you do have to say that regardless of how the score ends up, Jack's got to walk away from this feeling pretty happy with how he kept up with Sinner. If you're going to take a positive.
I think so. I mean, especially the second set where it was a good effort to get it to a tiebreak. And then Sinner just stepped up his level like you would expect the number one player to do in the tiebreak. It's been kind of a little bit hard for me to judge Jack this tournament because his scorelines have been pretty good coming in, and he was winning a lot of matches quite comfortably. And he was serving really well. He saved like 25 out of 28 break points, so all that is really good. And the win itself over Dimonor in straights, in the second set when he was struggling a little bit with his hamstring, like that's all great. But it's just been a little bit hard for me to assess because I feel like the opponents that played him, I feel like obviously the draw up ended up with Carlos going out. But aside from that, I don't feel like his opponents really did themselves full justice in their performances. Like you had Chang in the first round who was just really hurt, like right from the middle of the first set. And then second round, you kind of expect him to beat Diaz Acosta. And then third round, Bote was nowhere near the level that he was against Carlos. Probably to be expected also, like emotionally to come back from such a big win. I don't think Mahaj played well at all in the fourth round. And then Dimonor was kind of physically like not at his best at all because he hasn't played since Wimbledon, and he was having physical issues with the hip and everything. So I was kind of like, this is a really great run. He got to the semis without dropping a set, but I don't actually know how well he's playing really because he hadn't really been tested up until now. So this is like maybe the first real test he's had all tournament, which sounds strange, but that's how it is. Yeah. But I wonder how it's like in Britain. Like, are people really excited about this run?
Oh, it's all over the place. The BBC are like making him top story. They're putting multiple stories about him a day on their website. He's got an overhead, by the way, to try and avoid going 15-40 down, which he does 30-all.
Where are you watching the US Open? Are you watching it on Sky or?
Yes. Well, Sky's subsidiary, which is Now TV, which is essentially knockoff Sky in that they own it, but they only show things live. So there's no catch-up options. You can't pause it and then do stuff like that. So
this point at 30-all is like an exact repeat of one in the first set where he like comes in on a second serve and volley.
Oh, is he doing that again?
And then he gets passed on the backhand from Sinner.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly the same. Yeah. That's how he got broken in the first set.
Yeah.
The first time.
The same game. So.
I mean, I do think that return from Sinner in the first set was better.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
fair point.
A really important point right here, break point. Let's see if Jack can come up with something here.
First serve from Jack is wide. He's trying to go up the T serve. Second serve coming up. Jannik goes for the backhand cross court. Jack goes up the line with a forehand. That's brutal. Jack Sinner's got the short ball for Jack to come in behind. Jack volleys. Sinner's going to come past him. His base was there. Sinner hits into it. Game Sinner 4-2. And you have to say that unless his level drops like it did in set 1, I don't think it will.
He's pretty hunched over here. Yeah, it doesn't look great right now for him. Physically, I think he's just sort of out of gas now.
Yeah, it's just.
But I think that was kind of the feeling I had when the second set finished, because he put so much into it.
Yeah, he's
he like went in
definitely
one Sinner's
spent.
way. I think there was only going to be one winner from there.
Yeah, I mean, we might be looking at a 6-2 set here. I'm not sure if Draper's got enough in him to hold another service game. Yeah, that's a very
this is
slow
the longest
return
match
from
that
Draper.
Sinner's played all tournament as well. I mean, because the first set was just so long. And I think he's been pushed
Is
past
this
3
longer than
hours.
the Medvedev match?
Yeah, because the Medvedev match was just so weird, and they never played their best at the same time, and the sets were so quick, especially the first 3. It did get a little better in the fourth, but yeah.
Yeah. I tried to stay out for that night session.
Yeah, I don't think you missed that much in terms of, I mean, it was probably their worst match quality-wise.
Well, so I wanted to watch both matches, so I tried to stay up to watch Iga Pegula, and I fell asleep after the first game. And then when I woke up, Sinner and Medvedev were out on court, and I was like, great, what just happened? And then found out Iga lost. And then, had Sinner Medvedev on the background. Sinner started dominating. I fell asleep, woke back up, fell asleep, woke up for Medvedev suddenly being in control. And then I think I fell asleep for the last 2 sets.
Yeah, I think Medvedev had one opening in the fourth, and he missed this break point. He missed this volley on break point that he just swung at, and he missed it way wide, and that would have given him a 4-2 lead. So that was potentially a very key point, because after that point, Medvedev wasn't really the same again. Though he did start to pick up his level in the first half of the set, but yeah. I think that Tommy Paul match was also good for Sinner, because that really sharpened him up. The first 2 sets, tie breaks. He was down double break in the first set. He was also down in the tie break in the second set, but came through both of them. And I still don't think he's playing anywhere near how he did, let's say, Beijing of last year to Miami.
No.
But if that was a 9 out of 10, maybe this tournament he's been at an 8. So it's been kind of good enough, but
maybe. But okay, he's not playing as well as he was then, but he's still playing better than he was last year.
Oh yeah, compared to last year, the U.S. Open, I would say so. But yeah, I guess that's also why he's number 1, because he's just kind of delivering even when he's not at his best.
I mean, at this point, right? He's the latter part of this season, Asian swing onwards, maybe more the indoor season, is gonna when he starts defending points. That's only going to be the bedrock of his number 1 ranking, and then we'll see how close it can get.
Yeah, although he's so ahead in the race by quite a bit, and if he wins this tournament, I mean, he'll be 3,000 points ahead of Carlos. So he's pretty much kind of guaranteed for number 1
in the race.
It's basically over if he wins this tournament.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Is Carlos second in the race?
He's actually third.
Zverev?
Crazy enough, Zverev is 100 points ahead of him.
Forehand up the line from Sinner's. Draper trying to save the match and nets a forehand. Love 15. This match might be over soon. How much of a threat do you think Zverev might be to number 1? Maybe not soon.
Not much, because he's only at if Sinner wins this tournament, he'll still be almost 3,000 ahead of Zverev.
Yeah.
So I just don't see how Zverev can catch up.
Yeah, 3,000 points ahead of number 2, which is Zverev, and you've got 2 1,000s and the finals left. Yeah, that's not happening.
It's pretty much secured if he wins this title.
Yeah, it just becomes inevitable at some point. We're about to hit 3 hours on the clock. Gosh, this third set's just flown. It's definitely not being as competitive. Jack is at 15 all, but you can just tell that he's just not got a lot left. Unreturnable first serve. Unreturnable serve. But like, it's weird. The serve dropping short's actually catching Sinner out a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Federico thinks it'll be 4,000 point advantage for Sinner over Zverev.
If you're talking about the rankings, probably, but I'm talking about the race. Yeah, and the rankings as well. I just don't really see him dropping out of number 1. Especially because Sinner also has points to gain in Shanghai and Paris.
That is true.
In Shanghai, and then in Paris he withdrew because of the scheduling. So
yeah, so many of his points actually from 500s.
Yeah,
and
he won 2 500s, the Vienna and Beijing. So he got those 2 points there, and then the ATP finals where he got to the final.
I mean, he should be heavy favorite for that title when they get there.
It should. I mean, Djokovic might not even be playing it because he might not qualify. He might not play enough to even get in. I mean, that's a possibility. Also, no idea where Carlos will be after this as well. Which is also playing Davis Cup. It's also Laver Cup. It's also the
and
Davis
the
Cup
6 Kings Slam. They're both that.
What's that?
The 6 Kings Slam. They're both that.
Oh yeah, that's in December, right? Or no, that's in October.
Oh, backhand winner up the line from Sinner. Deuce. Yeah, it's right. It's October, that match.
Yeah.
By the way, the chat now seems to be quoting the greatest movie about San Diego ever made.
Oh.
Advantage Draper, Sinner's overplayed the return.
The Ron Burgundy. I don't know if you ever saw Andy Murray do a Ron Burgundy impression.
I loved that video. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Backhand from Sinner. Oh, somehow found the corner, and Draper's forehand scooped into the net. Deuce. And at this point, Sinner's just decided to torture Jack.
Yeah, he's just making him work for all these points, and Jack isn't really getting anything for free. Sinner, it looks like Sinner might just end it right here. And he has a match point now.
Yeah, because the Draper drop shot, Sinner's just scooped up and over and past him. This is the Sinner performance that I was expecting to happen after he broke for 4-2 in the first set. Was it 4-2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit dodgy in some first sets here. Obviously, the first set against McDonald, and then the first set against Tommy, and then here. But he finishes with a backhand winner.
Yeah, let's have a look. Draper serves. Backhand cross-court winner from Sinner on the return to win the match. 3 hours for a 3-set match. And like I predicted, Vanch, all 3 sets were very different.
They were, yeah. I mean, I guess Jack can be happy with how he competed in the second set and how he managed to make the first set quite close, and just also the whole tournament that he had. He's going to be in the top 20 in the world after this. So big step forward for him. And then, yeah, for Sinner, I mean, came into this tournament with the sort of question marks of how he would deal with the doping case, but came out against McDonald. Actually was down a set in a break, but since then he's just kind of gotten better as the tournament's gone along. And yeah, he's the favorite regardless of whoever wins between Tiafoe and Fritz in the final.
I mean, Sinner became the favorite the minute he converted match point against Medvedev. Because that was the one question mark, I think, that anyone had left. Maybe Because
that
once
felt
Federer
like
pulled out, Medvedev was the only real threat left.
I feel like that because yeah, those were the two best players left in the draw after Djokovic and Alcaraz went out. We were kind of looking at both of them, and that, as in, if not a de facto final, then at least like yeah, the winner of that is probably going to go on and win the tournament. So
just quickly on Jack's performance, Jack Draper, I feel like if I was gonna sum it up, it would be raging against the dying of the night, given he was playing an opponent was really good. His body was he was fighting his own body at points. And yet we got through that second set and somehow he didn't get broken despite multiple chances for Sinner. He breaks back in the first set. Like even that last game, like he was determined to not just go down meekly to Jannik Sinner. So yeah, that's probably, if I was going to use a phrase to sum up the Draper performance, that's what I would use.
yeah, I mean, I do think at times he could have served a bit better than he did. Like his first serve was working pretty well when he did hit his spots, especially because Sinner was covering the wide serve on the outside pretty well. So when he did go down the tee, he did get a few looks at some easy opportunities to attack, or he did get some misses like in the first set from the baseline from Jannik, where Jannik was a little bit, error prone at times. But I think his first serve percentage could have been a little bit better. That's also just given how well Sinner returns. Probably feels like he has to go for a little bit more on that first serve. I do like, again, the way he competed in the second set, the fact that he was able to get it to the tiebreak. He only had one break chance in the second set, which was in the first Jannik Sinner service game.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like he was up against it from the get-go no matter what. So yeah, I didn't think overall it was either going to be a Sinner in 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think straight sets for Sinner is what I thought was going to happen going in. I didn't think it was going to take this long. Yeah, so Sinner, do we think there's a possibility here that he's going to get the questionable plaudit of winning a Grand Slam without playing your best tennis?
Yes, but kind of he doesn't really need to play it like in his absolute unbelievable October to March level to win this thing now. He's kind of just doing what he needs to do and getting the job done. So can't really. I mean, he didn't drop a set today. Dropped one set against Medvedev and one against McDonald. So he's only dropped 2 sets so far en route to the final. I mean, usually most of the top players do end up dropping that many hits, en route. So I don't think it's like vastly different. I still think he's playing better than he was in between here in Cincinnati's. Probably just not quite at the caliber of the indoor season, but also like indoor season. I mean, different conditions as well. So that's
what's going to come alive
at the end of the year. And also given everything coming in, I think it's about as well as you could expect Sinner to play.
Yeah, given the second, yeah, I'd agree. I think there's a definite sense that second well, maybe second gear, but like third or fourth gear for Sinner is enough against pretty much anyone apart from the other members of the top 5 of the men's game. And I think there's a clear top 5 right now.
Yeah, I do feel like every time he's playing, I mean, the Medvedev match was the main question because he just lost to him at Wimbledon, and it's just because how tactical and how much of a chess match that whole rivalry and how back and forth it's gone. So I feel like once he overcame that, once he kind of did what he had to do to get through, it was just going to be like, it was going to take a lot for anyone left in the tournament to stop him. It's still, I mean, there's still a very outside chance that Fritz or Tiafoe could pose a threat to him, but I just think like the combination of how strong he's hitting from the back of the court, how well he's defending, and he seems to be moving better than he was for about 2 or 3 months before this, and just like how he's kind of locking in at just the right moments, like the tie breaks and like the ends of the sets. I feel like that's where he's bringing out his best tennis, because we saw his best tennis in the tie break, and it was just too overwhelming.
There was a question from Sean earlier in the stream. You weren't there for it. I think it was when Zach was still on, about is Sinner is Sinner becoming as clutch as we saw Djokovic get?
Not yet. I mean, it's still too early to really compare him to Djokovic right now. I mean, the body of work is just not that big enough, not that big of a sample size, of a sample size quite yet. I mean, I still do think he has work to do in terms of improving his 5-set record. It's like 6 and 9 overall in 5-setters, and he has lost quite a few in the slams. Up until now, of course, he did win the Australian Open final from 2 sets to love down, so that is a feather in his cap. But yeah, I mean, I think he's just kind of doing what we thought he would, especially after Djokovic and Alcaraz went out.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to start wrapping up here. Thanks for coming on, Vanch, and taking us through that third set. You know, I appreciate, you know, you helped with the heavy lifting there. But don't take that the wrong way. But yeah, I guess before we go, because obviously we will probably be starting our night session coverage for Fritz versus Tiafoe. You gave us a little bit of your thoughts earlier on how you thought that was going to go. But do you want to sort of share those again and sort of how you see that Fritz Tiafoe match playing out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really exciting and interesting from the crowd perspective as well, just to see kind of where the crowd is at. I think most of the crowd will probably be for Francis, just given he has that connection here. We know he elevates his general level on the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and the kind of he's going to be looking to coming forward as much as he can, like using his athleticism, like kind of playing the kind of Tiafoe tennis that he likes to play on a fast court, which is just just look to be so precise with his backhand. But I think Fritz from the back of the court this tournament has been really strong from the baseline, and also he's been serving really well. He's been just tactically playing some of the best tennis I've seen him play, and his movement and his transition game has gotten better as well. So I do expect that Fritz's overall quality might be too much for Francis, given the other opponents that Francis has played so far. But I also know that Francis can match the big occasion, and I do think he's going to pace himself like a 5-set match. And Fritz, this is his first ever semifinal, so there could be some question marks there in terms of the dynamics of the opportunity that he has, because he has a 6-1 head-to-head and he is the favorite coming in. Will that add some extra pressure on Fritz? We'll see how he handles it. It took him a while to get over the quarterfinal hump, and I thought he didn't play that his best tennis against Musetti at Wimbledon, but he managed to pull it off here. So we'll see. I mean, I'm making Fritz the favorite and I'm going with him, but I also know that it's not an obvious answer even with a 6-1 head-to-head.
I'm going with Francis to win.
Okay.
I think that he's playing better than last year, where he got taken out by Shelton, which, different players, but arguably sort of similar kind of circumstances. And even if you look at 2022, you could argue Francis got to that quarterfinal and took 2 sets off got to the semi-final and took 2 sets off Alcaraz, not playing his best. And I think he might be playing better than 22. And if that's the case, I think it's going to take a heck of a performance to take him out. And I'm not sure whether, although Fritz is playing some of the best tennis I've ever seen him, whether that's the tennis that's going to do it. I think it's going 5, most likely, either way. That's where I'm at with it. So I guess we'll find out. So take a break, everyone. We'll be live in probably about 30 minutes or so with Damien and team to take us through that one. And I'll be back tomorrow to do the women's final. Don't know with who yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Jessica Pegula can do to challenge Arina Sabalenka in that. So hope you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for joining us on the stream, guys. Hope you stick around for Damien Co. Later, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow as well. In the meantime, take care. Keep talking tennis.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
My name is Zainab Samaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.